so I can be free. I take the weight on my shoulders. I feel the sky come down on me. And I can't hold it much longer. Gonna let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Happy Monday, everyone. FT Live coming at you. Man, weather in the Northeast is not good lately.
It's tricky, man. It's
Dude,
like
it
Florida.
is
It rains,
rough.
it stops, sun comes out, muggy, bugs.
Yep.
Not cool.
All your favorite things.
Yeah.
By the way, we'll talk to Stephen Nesbitt from The Athletic in about 30 minutes. 2021 All-Star Adam Frazier of the Baltimore Orioles is going to join us. No relation?
We don't know yet.
We don't know
We'll
yet.
have to figure that out. No, I'm just kidding.
Testing still to be determined.
Well,
21andMe, what's it called? 23andMe. Chelsea Janes also will join us on the Washington Nationals fiasco. So we'll get to that. She's from the Washington Post. And most importantly, actually a couple of things. First off, Kratz, is that a Martian shirt, a Jasson Dominguez shirt that you're wearing?
From my buddy Derek from NYY Recaps. Got this. Let's see, which side does it have on?
Not human, the Martian. That is fire. Love that. Okay.
It's fire. Even though my guys
don't
UCL
say
didn't
anything.
stay
We'll
together.
get to it.
But
I know. And then also, today is 9/11. We are in Jersey right now, Todd, Father, and myself. And
let's go.
you can remember, I mean, we were young, but
Yeah.
when tragedy struck and bullshit struck this area, a terrible act of terrorism, and it's honored every year. I know it'll be a big thing at the Jets game tonight. You know, they'll do give it its due and do a moment of silence.
No doubt. It's 22 years ago to the day. I can remember exactly where I was, man. I was in sophomore in high school. Baseball player Andy Altman came to me and said, "Hey, man, you know, somebody struck the Twin Towers." And I'm looking, I'm like, come on, stop. We had American history class, basically that period, and we watched the TV for 40 minutes. And I remember a friend of mine, Lauren, came to me and said, my dad missed the train for the first time in like 20 years when he was supposed to go there. I mean, tears. It was just a sad time, and especially in this area. We saw smoke coming from, you know, I'm like 60 miles away, and smoke was coming this way. So it was tough, something we'll never forget. And, man, it was very trying times. But, you know, people are moved on, but at the same time, we'll never forget.
Yeah. They do a really nice job always of, you know, whatever New York sports is going on here for the night, Mets, Yanks, Jets, Giants, whatever, kind of making sure that we don't forget. So,
and I'm glad they're doing the New York game today. That's smooth. That's a good thing by NFL.
Yeah, makes sense. You've got the day lining up that way. So cheers on that. Good job by the leagues. All right, let's charge the damn mound, shall we? Let's get to it, and let's open up with a story that you've actually already talked about. So has AJ, and we're gonna kind of reiterate it because it's becoming a little bit more real when our boy Bob Nightingale from USA Today says the Angels perhaps for the first time are open to trading all-star outfielder Mike Trout if he indicates to them that he wants out. And Todd Fathers told us before, because your boys were Trout, what he'd do. Kratz, just to get your take, I know Trout's not your best friend, but if he suddenly called you and said, "Hey, Kratz, I mean, I heard that the Angels would potentially trade me," what advice would you give him?
Do it. Absolutely. There's no doubt. The guy's got 1,000 OPS. People are going to say, well, his trade value's down. Wait a year till he gets his value back up. Immediately. No. Wherever you want to go. And I would even go to him and be like, look, I'm not looking to go anywhere else on the West Coast. I'd love to go east. My kids, you know, family's out there. Obviously, I think the Phillies have already, you know, maxed out their payroll, but I'm pretty sure he'd love to play in Philly. He'd love to play, you know, a neat place for him to play. And that's neat with a capital N, Baltimore.
Oh.
No, well, that's not happening because
they got the prospect capital.
Yeah, but they're not going to pay him, Kratz. He's making about $250 million through 2030. Wait, I want to backtrack for a second.
Go ahead.
He said,
pick them up.
I know the Phillies kind of maxed out their payroll. Says who? You don't think the Phillies, if they get a phone call and say, hey, you want to talk about things? Trouty wants to go to Philadelphia since he's from Little Millville, New Jersey, nearby. You don't think the Phillies would say, hey, let's make a special case here. They're making a lot of money this year. We've talked about how good of a job they've done with Dombrowski being a gunslinger, making them a contender, getting them superstars, keeping those players. Bryce Harper's a bargain at this point. Top father, if I'm Philadelphia, I'm going after Trout more aggressively than almost anybody because I also know, not that he needs motivation, he is going to be amped up as hell. If he ends up back in Philly and has a chance to play with Harper for a World Series title, it would take his legacy to another level, and he'd be playing playoff baseball.
Hey, listen, I want to backtrack too as well. I said if this is all started when they didn't trade Ohtani, and the shit hit the fan after that. He should have traded him. They would have got a boatload back. It would have been the end of the story, and Trout would have been like, all right, now I see where we're going. And, which might not have happened, they still could have got Ohtani to come back. Seeing what they got back and who they're getting. Like I said before, Mike is going to have the talk. They're going to have conversations. And to hear this, music to my ears, makes me excited. New York, wake up. Let's go. The big dog's coming to town, man. Make this move and bring this guy to – don't be giggling, big dog. You want
him on the Yanks?
I want him on the Yanks, man. Put some pinstripes on that young man. Come on, dog. He'll finish his career out in New York, dominate the scene. And guess what? Yankees are looking to buy a pitcher over in Japan too, which we haven't talked about. Watch out. They're going to be building. I'm not worried about this year. All right. I'm going to say it now.
I'm not going after you. I'm here.
I thought the Yankees had a chance. They're done with now.
Now you're good.
I'm
you're
good.
Done. Okay.
I'm good. I'm done. I'm off that rock right now. But yes, it's about time they start talking about him. You know what you know what I mean? If by the least, the Mets, they got the money too. Listen, I know Steve Cohen talked about in a couple years. Oh, we're not going to do this. But Mike's back on the map.
Yeah,
watch out now.
Also, only one team, Kratz, is getting Shohei Ohtani. This free agent class is not loaded with stars. Cody Bellinger has reestablished himself as a star. But again, that's one player with a lot of teams going for superstars in the offseason.
But if it's loaded with the biggest star in the world, that one where nobody can reach, I don't care if there's no free agents. It's going to be electric. I can't wait.
So here's I think some bullshit that's been going online and through social media, through some of the clips when we've posted them about Trout, Kratz, is there's a lot of Mike Trout haters right now. They're like, dude, deal with it. You signed a big deal. You're hurt all the time right now. Like, he's only played over 82 games one time the past 4 seasons, including this year. He's at that number right now, unless he comes back. And it's his worst slash line since 2011 when he played 40 games. Like, this year he's 263, 367, 490, which most dudes would sign up for in a heartbeat. My thing is, I don't think he's done. I don't think that he can't put together 50-ish game season still. He's 32 years old. So that's a little harsh in my mind, Kratz. And also, usually when these injuries are popping up in the second half of the season, at this point with him, what's the rush? I'm not going to rush him back and sacrifice something long-term when they're not in the playoffs.
Kratzy, I want to ask you this. He's 32. How many good years do you think he has left in him?
The way that he plays, the way that his body, how he swings, I think he's got 7.
7. I was going to say –
That's a lot.
I was going to say 38. But, yeah, hey, listen.
38 seasons?
Any team would take him and get 5 good years left on – like good years, the numbers that he normally puts up. I mean, I'll take the numbers he puts up now, but at the same time, 5 to 7 good years, I mean, I would be open to him.
No doubt. And I think the whole injury thing, like what kind of injuries is he having? Is he having small muscle tears, or is he breaking his hamate? Then he comes back and his wrist is injured. Was his hamate completely healed? Like, and I would never say, you don't need to come back. Like, players want to compete. They want to be out there. And I think this dude wants to play and compete, but don't give me the whole, like, if you're going to play the injury card when people are dogging him, like, make sure you check your facts. Make sure you check to see why he's injured. What is he doing to get injured? Like, no, don't keep a man landlocked just because you think he's been injured. Hit by pitches, broken hands, this kind of stuff. Nah.
No
Philly would be awesome. That's what I'm thinking.
Hey, listen, I'll take East Coast, baby, because it's the Beast Coast.
Yeah. And he wants to be down there. He's the biggest Philly fan.
Kratzy, I'm on one today.
Todd would be so mad if he goes to the Phillies. Todd would be so
listen,
mad.
I would be bitter, but I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad. I'd be a little.
And the
bitter.
only
No,
person
it'd
that would be
good for
more
the city
mad.
there. It'd be cool.
The only person that would be more mad would be Trout, because he'd be like constantly just, no, Todd, no, I can't hang out with you. Like I gotta play. Hey, Mike, you want to come over and play? Come on, let's play.
Let's go golfing at your place. Let's go.
I have a baseball. I have a cage. You can come and hit in the cage, bro. Look, seriously, bro, just come up to Tom's River. He's like, no, I want to be in
listen, I'm knocking at your door right now. Where are you? Oh, I'm not home, but he's got all his cars there and he's playing with his kids in the backyard.
He'd be like, yo, you need to take some extra swings. It would be like June 10th. He'd be like, yo, Mike, come over tomorrow morning. You need to take some extra swings.
I'll do some flips. Let's go.
All right, so we'll obviously have a lot of fun with that in the offseason. If that ends up coming to fruition, then it makes the offseason that much more ridiculous.
It will. It's gonna.
Yep.
I want it to. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I want to get to what you guys thought about George Kirby and his comments. He's one of my favorite pitchers to watch. Dude just dots the zone.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of former players went after him after his comments, and just fans in general. So I'll set the scene here. He pitches on Friday, and he's at the 93 pitch mark, 4-2 lead entering the 7th inning. And in that 7th, he gives up the game-tying home run on the 103rd pitch of the night, his final pitch of the night, in what ultimately was a 7-4 loss and a bad series loss. They lost 3 of 4, the Mariners, to the Rays after taking the first game in that series. The post-game comment, quote, "I wish I wasn't out there for the 7th, to be honest." Actually, we have it, right? So let's run it.
I didn't execute. He had a good pitch. I wish I wasn't out there for the 7th, to be honest. So I was at 90 pitches, and I didn't think I needed to go anymore. But it is what it is. So
is that a conversation in the dugout, or is it?
It'll be a conversation soon. Yeah.
He said after the next day, obviously I screwed up. That's not me. Skip's always going to pry that ball out of my hands. Just super uncharacteristic of me as a player and who I am on that mound. I love competing.
I don't listen. He said it. And to me, that's what you feel. First thing that comes out of your mind to me is that's how you feel. That's what you really felt like. Kratz, I know you're going to agree with me in this. You don't say this in the media. This is something you go to a coach and you explain to him, hey, man, behind closed doors. You don't go to a media and feel like you need other people to feel bad for you or this is why this happened. No. You go, if you're upset about the whole situation, you go behind closed doors. Hey, Skip, I shouldn't have been out there. Well, you shouldn't have said that. You shouldn't even have this conversation to begin with. That's the old school in me. You're out there. You want to pitch as much as you can. If you have an arm problem, okay, my arm's barking. I'm done. Do that. But don't go on the media binge here and make, you're going to get reactions from both sides. And for me, it's tough to hear. As a player, I'd be like, yo, hey, man, really? Like, come on, dude. Are you hurt? Are you injured? Are you, was your mind not right? Why didn't you say something beforehand? All those types of things, Kratzy. And it's tough to hear, but this analytical world, I don't know. I don't know exactly what it is, but there's something behind 103 pitches. To me, it's a lot, but it's really not that much.
Well, again, you got to kind of ask the guy. And I couldn't ask the guy, but I asked some of his teammates afterwards, is this really this dude? Because I love him. You and I, Scotty, you and I talk about it all the time. This guy has some ridiculous ability. He's got the ability to learn new pitches and put them right in the game, learn that sinker this year. I had him as a gamer. So I asked these guys that play with him every single day. And to me, that's where you need to follow up. Yeah, everybody wants his sound bites, but his sound bites the next day are going to be, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I've already apologized, blah, blah, blah. Asked his teammates. Every one of the teammates that I asked, to a man, they all said, this dude is a stud. He is our 1B on this team. Castillo is 1A. He is our 1B. They've never heard him talk like this. So then my view of this is, okay, let's go back and look at his last few games. His last 4 starts, he's given up 4 runs, 8 hits, 3 runs, 8 hits, 4 runs, 6 hits. And then this past game, 4 runs, 5 hits. Okay, so he's been giving up a few runs. One of them was unearned, but it's LLL. maybe just gone through a tough stretch here.
Yeah.
Not every superstar has been through it. He's been through it a little bit, and they got him right after the game. They lost another one. The Mariners, I think, are two of their last 8. At that point, they ended up losing again over this weekend. But you're in the emotions, and his teammates say, because I'm not asking these dudes, I'm asking these guys as my friends, what is this dude like? And his teammates say he is a stud, and he wants the ball every time. They had no idea where this came from. No idea.
And I think you make a good point too as well. Maybe frustration about how he's been pitching. That's fair. But at the same time, you got to be mature enough to talk to a guy behind. You don't take it to the media. That's the only problem I had with the situation.
But the problem I have with that is now he's never going to say anything again. We're going to interview him.
Yeah.
And they're going to talk to
how do you feel?
post.
Good.
I'm good. Yeah, everything's good. Just, trying to win games.
Can't wait to pitch in 5 days.
That sucks because he's young. He's really good. I've interviewed him before.
Yeah.
He's well-spoken. He's 25 years old. He's an all-star. And now you just took his voice away.
Yeah.
Because then you have former players just piling on like, this is the analytics world ready, so I'll give you a few. So, Jared Weaver, this is why I'll never be any kind of coach in the big leagues, to be honest. I shouldn't have been out there, ? I threw 90 pitches, ? What the beep? Embarrassing, truly embarrassing. Brandon McCarthy said, don't know all the details here, but this is really weird. I get the feeling if you're out of gas, but can't imagine verbalizing this publicly. Our guy, Doug Mankiewicz, who we've had on Legends territory, said, you have 3 weeks left in a playoff race and you want out after 90? Sadly, this is how most minor league systems are, quote, developing starters these days. And Roger Clemens, this is tough to hear, would not fly in the old days. Unfortunately, this is how players are being taught with modern analytics. What are y'all thoughts?
Kratz, and you've been in it before. When the manager comes to the mound, you hate to hear it, but everybody comes in, you're there, and the coach says, hey, man, you got another one? The guy's like, no, I'm good. Like, I know you've heard that before from a pitcher, and at the same time, you're out there like, man, I wish you would have gave it one more. But at the same time, there's guys out there like that. I'm not saying he is, but we've been in those situations before where pitchers are like, no, I'm good. I'm good. Bring somebody else in. So for me, they need to have a conversation and make sure they're on the same page moving forward.
In the moment, I'm never like, if some dude's like, yeah, I'm good, I'm like, fine. Like, we got somebody loose in the pen. I'm good with that. But what happens then is afterwards, you sit there and you're like, wait, you were good? Like, not saying they bailed on us. Like, there's a fine line. If you're a young guy and you say that, it's like, I kind of need you to be out here. Like, let's make mistakes. But on the flip side, I've had more managers come out and ask me, hey, come in the dugout. Hey, what do you think?
True.
And it's hard. It is hard for me to say a dude doesn't have it. But you want the best for your team. If you tell them, guy, hey, he doesn't have it, and they don't trust you, and then he gives it up, then it's out of my hands. But if you say the guy's got it and he gives it up, I'm willing to put myself out there. So it's one of those things that as a pitcher, you have to be willing to stand by whatever it is that you say. But you want that ball. Like, you want the ball. I have a hard time believing he doesn't want the ball. And some of these old school guys, yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying. But don't pile on in this instance. Now he does it again. Now let's I'm fine with piling on, because now this is what this guy does. But maybe extend a dude a little bit of grace.
Yeah,
I agree.
And I'll just say he's not going to say anything anymore. I mean, he's not. He's just not. At least not for a while.
No.
It's just you get shook from that. So,
and listen, we all make mistakes. Is this the biggest mistake in the world? No. He made a mistake.
He's going to go 8 in a playoff game. You watch, and he's going to go, shut the fuck up.
He's going to go like this. He's going to go 8 innings. He's going to go. He's going to go like this, Kratz.
Good night.
Oh, no, I'm not tired.
Yeah, I like it. I hope he plays up to it. That'd be fun. Let's hit our poll question. Back to Trout. Where will he play? Who will he play for in the next couple years? So where could he end up? A, Dodgers. B, Padres.
Nope.
C,
Nope.
somewhere in Texas. D, Todd's Yankees.
Dun, 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 dun.
Really, it should be Phillies on there, but
Yeah.
I'm a write-in. candidate here. I'll put it in the comments. Watchstadium.com/foul territory. We'll go over Dusty Baker's comments and just Jasson Dominguez's big injury next.
Be a straight shooter here. How does it feel giving up 40 home runs this year?
Dude,
Dude,
it's unreal. It's unreal. Like, it feels like every ball put in play is a home run. I don't know how to say it. The other day, they either got a bunt or a home run hit. I don't know how to explain it. You make pitches and then you're getting outs, you're getting ground balls, and then all of a sudden you make the same pitch and then 40 homers, and you're just like, damn, the hell? I'm in the point right now where the shit's happened. So you gotta sit here and say, all right, who gives a shit? We got to keep attacking. We got to keep trying to get outs because hell, you already gave up 40. So there's no point to worry about the ones you've already given up. Let's make sure we're making pitches so we try not to give up anymore.
What's a number going into the season? You know you're going to give up homers, and I always tell people that the best pitchers, Cy Young guys, are going to be up there in the league lead because they're attacking guys. They don't walk guys like you. You know, you don't walk guys, so you're attacking guys. It's going to happen because you're not afraid of a single swing. Most of the time you're coming out top. What's a number for a starting pitcher? Is it one less than starts? What is it?
Yeah, you're to be honest with you, you go in every year, you're like, man, you try to keep it under 20, to be honest. And then if it gets to that to where, hey, you give up one, if you're less than one to start, if you're attacking, striking people out, that's you can't be mad at it. But when you start getting to where, you're giving up, when you're over one to start, that's when it just kills you, man. But you try not to walk people. You try not to do those things so they don't hurt you. But as of lately, they've hurt me with multi-run home runs. The solo ones won multiple games this year, giving up solo ones. You just got to make sure you don't give up the big one. And lately, I've been giving up the big one.
And now back to foul territory.
Back on FT Live, Braun, Frazier, Kratz, we're on Stadium, and let's start yesterday's action with some shitty news. It's really an injury suck kind of situation too, which we run through sometimes on our little graphic, but Jasson Dominguez, who's been in the league for about a week, crushing it, has a torn UCL, which we've seen from hitters. I mean, Bryce Harper's the most recent example, but obviously that'll shut him down for the rest of this year. He's so young that they're going to be careful with him. So we don't know the exact timetable, but it sounds like somewhere in the middle of next season could be the return. Now, you can usually hit quicker than you can throw the baseball. We've seen that with Bryce Harper. I mean, Bryce came back in 5 months. He's deep in a contract. He's a veteran. He knows what he's doing. But this sucks. It
sucks bad because this is like the next best thing, since Judge came aboard, to be honest with you. The guy's a beast. He came out strong. He's been in the league, like you said, less than 10 days, whatever it is. To me, in my opinion, I think he comes back All-Star break next year. And I shove him right back in there. I mean, this guy, he's the spark that they needed coming up. Unfortunately for him, hopefully this is the last bad thing that happens to him because he's a good dude. Kratz, he's got the sweatshirt on, and, I wish for the best for him because the Yankees will need him next year, and hopefully, good things coming after the surgery, man. There's nothing more to say. It's just an unfortunate injury.
The Yankees aren't leaving a roster spot for him, though. They're not sitting there like, we're just going to get a stopgap until Dominguez comes back. He's got to earn this spot again. He'll be 21 years old. He did great. He hit like 260 in his first go around in the big leagues. Pumped out four pumps, but they gotta construct their roster from April 1st on, and they're not going to sit there and go, well, we're not going to really be in on this lineup upgrade because everybody knows that's what they need. They need lineup upgrade. I think their starting rotation is going to improve. Severino is going to be back, I assume, but he's going to be back from his health scare here with the oblique. Rodon's going to throw better. So their pitching is going to be fine, but they're not going to sit here and wait for Dominguez to come back in June because that's probably about the 9-month span. Younger guys recover quicker. Maybe they don't rush them, whatever it is. They need 2 or 3 pieces in that lineup that are going to be able to stretch this lineup out with or without Dominguez.
And also, Severino's gone because he's going to be a free agent. Now he's done with the oblique. So he's not
but
coming back.
I'm thinking because of his injury, they bring him back on something on the cheap.
Huh. Okay. You don't think he goes somewhere else, change of scenery?
Just because of this injury. I think if his last few starts, he started to do really well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think his track record, he needs to build his resume back up. So my thing is, I think it'll be a 1 year, $7 million cheap. He knows, he's comfortable. He's been with this organization his entire life. He loves being with the Yankees. I just don't see him getting a multi-year deal right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fair. Well, at least Yankee fans had something good to cheer for yesterday. You get no hit forever into extras, and then you freaking beat the Brewers. So the Brewers are a good ball club. That was a fun game to watch with Burns and Cole for a while, just being like, nope, you get nothing. Anyway, let's move to the team that the Yankees wish they were, which is the Houston Astros. As Susan Baldwin told us at the beginning of the season, the freaking World Series runs through Houston. It's true. And yesterday they had, for the first time this season, a lineup with Yordan and Brantley and Yainer Diaz, who's been great for them, and Chas McCormick all together, getting everybody nice and healthy at the right time. And they won big, 12-2. They smacked the Padres. So now they lead in the division by 2.5 games, and 9 of their next 12 should do it. 9 of their next 12 games are against the A's and the Royals. Congratulations to the Houston Astros. You have won the American League West. But more importantly, because we want to clear this up, we did get a response from Dusty Baker about that Chandler Rome story last week, saying that Dusty was kind of dinging him in the lineup sometimes because he felt like he was a little overweight. The quote from Dusty here, we'll show it, and if you're on the pod, I'll read it to you. I'm not going to do my Dusty voice. I'm just going to read it to you straight. Dusty. As far as me not liking Chaz, I don't understand where that's coming from at all. It's caused kind of a shitstorm out there. Ooh, foul territory word, which is unnecessary, totally unnecessary. It seems like if somebody has something against me, they ought to use it against me and not use my players against me. That is so wrong. As far as Chaz not playing, you can ask Chaz. I told him before he got hurt, Chaz, you can have this job if you want it. I'm not going to give it to you, but if you want this job, you can take it. Then he got hurt. He was out 20 days. Imagine how many more at-bats he'd have then. He played 42 out of 50 games. That's 1 day off a week every 7 days. It's a lot of playing. I pride myself in putting guys in a situation where they will most likely succeed offensively, defensively. As far as his weight is concerned, if I had something against his weight and you can ask him, I wouldn't bring him banana pudding once a week. I stop by This Is It and get him banana pudding. If I was concerned about a guy's weight, I would not bring a guy banana pudding. Or maybe I helped contribute to that. I take care of my guys. I appreciate if people would stop trying to help me manage because I think I know what I'm doing. I take care of my players the same way they take care of me. And if you were playing the banana pudding drinking game, you're a little buzzed on a Monday.
Listen, there might be shirts that come out of here with Chas McCormick.
Is that not his new nickname? He's got to be banana pudding. No?
Or just pudding.
Pudding. Come here, pudding. Yeah, no, Dusty, from playing with Dusty for 4 years, having him as my manager, he's class. He's just a class act. He's not going to tell anybody all this stuff. I don't know where it came from. Good for him coming out here and, standing up for himself a little bit. People always try and find something. Chas McCormick's a good player. He's a very good player. And that's what Dusty always told us. You want this job, you're going to have to earn it, but it's yours for the taking. And he gave me that opportunity. And, after all, Kratz, I'm just getting kind of hungry hearing about banana pudding. So that's where I'm at with the story right now.
Delicious. Banana pudding is delicious. But again, the whole comment about his weight, I don't understand. I don't understand why it was brought up. And why is Chas McCormick not playing 50 out of 50 days? Why is he not in there? He needs a day off every day. And he said in his last comment, he's like, well, he's not Julio Rodriguez. What does that mean? He has a higher OPS than Julio Rodriguez does. Is it because of past? To me, there's something there with Dusty. Is there a past, something on his mind that he's always thinking, I don't know if I can put Chaz in there or not, Because I always heard, and Todd, you can tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Lance Nix told me, hey, when I played for Dusty, it would be Sunday, and he would tell me, hey, you're not, because he was kind of a bench player. He's like, you're going to play Wednesday, Thursday, and then I got you in there Saturday, Sunday. So it's going to be a back-to-back. He said he would go to everybody and tell them that. Even the starters, like, hey, I'm going to give you off Saturday. I want you in there Sunday because, it's a day game, but that's going to be a day I'm giving you off. Like, does he need to give guys off? Like, is this a prerequisite that you have to have a days off? Chas McCormick carried this team for a little bit, minus the most underrated player in the game, Kyle Tucker. But Chas McCormick's been unbelievable for these guys.
No, you're right. You're right. And I'll be quick here. That's what he always did, especially as a young kid coming up, a rookie. Hey, man, you got Wednesday, but you ain't coming back till Saturday. Be ready to pinch hit. But at least he gave you that understanding of knowing, like, all right, I got to be prepared. Maybe I can go get a nice dinner tonight, but I got to understand I got to be ready for those days, which is great. And, there are not many managers that did that. So for him, kudos to him for doing that. He got you guys prepared. And he was always a big guy. Whenever I came back home to play in Philly or New York, you're definitely playing because we know how people play in front of their home crowd.
Sometimes Dusty will get into it. Let's go with the front office on playing time. Like, remember there was if you look back at the Miles Straw issue, and then they traded him away. There was some dissension with him and James Click. All good, whatever. Like, healthy debate. My only thing is, like Kratz said, don't call out your player and say he's not Julio Rodriguez when he has better numbers than him. That, I think he should have just come out and said, I take that back. I don't know why I was thinking that. Chas is just as good. And then you're good, right? You got to say your boy's as good as a dude that he's got 50 points on OPS on. That's all. So let's swing back. We're going to bring Stephen Nesbitt from The Athletic on to join us about all the hot topics around the league, go over some power rankings he's got, and what stats do MLB players really care about? Like, years down the line of the new group, who's the guy that you think it doesn't have to be? I don't need you to project like who's going to be best. I want to know, like, in the locker room, who's going to command it.
The leader.
Maybe Newbar. He's pretty good with that kind of stuff. I think you saw it in the World Baseball Classic, hyping the dudes up in the dugout, and he's pretty good with like speaking and rah and stuff like that. So I could definitely see New being that type of guy going forward.
Newt's an international superstar.
He's everywhere now. He's really built his brand. He's no Ohtani built his brand, but Newt's built his brand.
He leveraged Ohtani, which is fine.
That's fair.
Also, not just leveraged.
He was Ohtani's wingman.
He got to hang out with him. And the WBC, not only did his team win, but the attention, it's a bigger deal in Japan than it is here, period.
No.
Right?
Right now.
They had, I think, better than Super Bowl numbers for the WBC, right?
Oh, it was something crazy. One of the games was like 93% of households.
That's insane.
It was insane that we're watching it. That had TVs. We're watching the Japan finals, the finals against the U.S.
Do you notice anything different this year with Newt because of that? I'm not saying with you guys. I'm saying, like, are there more fans coming up to him? Especially, like, let's say there's international fans that know about him from the WBC. Also, is he walking around like, yeah, maybe I don't have a 000 ERA, but like I got more followers than everyone here?
Yeah, so we used to have this thing last year in 22 where we were neck and neck in followers. I think I have like in the mid 30,000 followers, and he was right ahead of me, and we'd go back and forth. And then when he left for the World Baseball Classic, he sent me a screenshot of his followers, and he had like 600,000 at this point. And then he's like, "Dude, you got no chance now." So I was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna hang him up. I got no chance now. I'm never catching you." And I think he's over 1 million now, and he's the same guy. And I remember in Boston there was quite a few fans there, and I don't remember where else, but there was a lot of new fans, which is really cool to see. And it's crazy to see how quick social media can help you build your brand, and how far you go with that.
And now back to foul territory.
Back at it on FT Live, Braun, Frazier, Kratz, and we're being joined by Stephen Nesbitt from The Athletic, who does a lot of different assignments for the publication. Stephen, great to have you on. Love your work for a long time now. How you doing? And how's your baseball season going?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on. Good to see a couple of guys, at least Erik, who I covered for his 2016 stint with the Pirates. He had one homer, 1-0 ball game off Madison Bumgarner. Jeff Locke takes the W, Madison Bumgarner the L. I was on hand to chronicle that one. That was special.
Facts. And
Wow.
I actually had a dream that I was going to hit that home run, but it was back in the 2014 World Series before Game 7. I dreamt that I was going to hit a home run off of Madison Bumgarner, probably because the whole day before we're like, all right, we're going to win this game. We're going to face Bumgarner. The next time I faced him was 2016. Dinger, Angel Pagan went in his glove, went over the fence, and the ball dropped out of his glove.
That's awesome.
What a day. Yeah.
That is. Hey, Steven, enterprise/features role. Talk to me about what you're doing with that. And I know you work with the Pirates, so we'll get into the Pirates here shortly. I'm curious what that role means.
Sure, yeah. Hit me with whatever you want. So I covered the Pirates from 15 to 17 full-time, so I'm traveling full-time and all that. And then I moved into, this is back at the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette newspaper, moved into an enterprise role, which really just means you write long-form stuff. So instead of writing every day, 3 stories, you're writing one story every other week or every 3 weeks, and it's bigger, longer, more reporting done, and something with more depth to it. So that's really my forte. It always has been, and so that's what I've been doing since then, but moved over to the Athletic a couple years later, and then and now I'm a MLB writer for the Athletic, but mostly I do mostly long form features.
Nice. I want to dive into the Pirates here a little bit.
Sure.
Brian Hayes yesterday, man. He, you know what? I've been there before. I was frustrated after one game. I said some things about an umpire, and I was actually right, but at the same time, obviously, you know that. And, he said some things. I mean, everybody can see it, how bad that call was. I'm glad he said something. I wish he didn't go to social media. I wish he would have just said it in like a, right after the game to a media person. So on TV, everybody could see it as well. But what's your take on that? Is there frustration, or is it just something that, these ball players are getting sick of right now?
Yeah, I don't know if it's so much a widespread thing, because if you talk to or you look at any Jason Stark story, players generally don't want anything more than a challenge system. ABS full time is not like totally ridiculed, but something that guys who played with it at AAA say, I don't really like this system. It doesn't still feel quite right, and maybe they have some tweaking and fine tuning to do. But yeah, in his tweet, Brian saying, bring on ABS, and he obviously had an issue, and obvious, very, very fairly, with the strike call on him that ended his at-bat last night or yesterday afternoon. And so with that one, the interesting thing to me is Brian is a very soft-spoken guy, super nice guy, super polite, and not the one I would have guessed would be coming out the gates firing with a post on social media. But guess he didn't feel like he had his total say, and maybe wanted to put it in his own words rather than say it to a writer afterward. It's gotten a lot of play this morning. So I think it's the way he did it was just fine.
Is this coaching staff that's there right now? Chris Shelton, Don Kelly, these
Dude,
guys.
You just said Chris Shelton, legendary former Tiger.
Yeah.
Derek Shelton.
Derek Shelton. My bad. They are they going to outlast this organization before or after they make the playoffs? Are they going to be there for this playoff run that again is a rebuild, again under Bob Nutting?
Yeah, so this was the coaching staff brought in after Ben Cherington replaced Neil Huntington. Clint Hurdle and his staff kicked out the door along with Huntington, and then they bring in Derek Shelton, who was brought along to be a player's guy, right? I don't say that in any derogatory way, a player's manager, but that's what it was. They said, we're going to be a player-centric organization. We're going to focus on the individual development of players. They had some pretty bad track record of players not having so much success in Pittsburgh and then leaving and having a whole lot of success. And so they said, we need to figure out a way to stop that. And one way we're going to do that and attack that is to have a player-centric manager. And it's worked well. Guys like him a lot. Now, just candidly, when he came in the door, I didn't think he would see the other side of the rebuild. It takes a while, right? And a lot of guys don't see that. I mean, look around the league. Different guys who have gone through some pretty rough seasons, they don't get more than 2 or 3 years often. And so Shelton's still here. They're always pretty coy about his contract situation, but they do that with everybody there. And so I still do think he has a shot to stick around for for the long haul, because a lot of what's happened so far is like, how are you going to judge the manager with a roster like they put together last year, the year before that? And so they're starting to have a much more respectable roster today, but still it's not a full rotation. The bullpen has got some real holes in it. The lineup is hit or miss in a big way. And like any injury, O'Neal Cruz being one of them, is going to just knock you into you're using a quad A guy in that spot. So I still think they have a chance to see the other side of this one, but I wouldn't be shocked if, they feel like they have a roster that's ready to hit go, and they want a more of a veteran Bochy type, right? Like, just like the Rangers decided we need to get that veteran who's done it before, who's won before, who doesn't need to sort of help these guys and hold their hands as they get to reach their potential, but actually be somebody to win ball games and win a lot of them.
Is this farm system ready to be the playoff farm system, or are they just hoping for the Andrew McCutchen to lead this team, the Neil Walker to walk through the door, Pedro Alvarez? Or are they going to actually spend when it's time to spend?
They say they're going to spend when it's time to spend. I'll believe it when I see it. The fact is, as you just alluded to, the only way they're going to get to be a playoff team is if it's homegrown. They are not a team that's going to say, we're like 50% of the way there and we'll buy our way to the finish line. No, this is a team that is not going to go in unless they think they're really, really ready. And that's going to happen because Brian Reynolds is a perennial all-star. It's going to happen because Brian Hayes can do a whole lot more than be a Gold Glove third baseman. He can produce like a corner infielder should be. They find a third baseman. Jack Sawinski learns how to get a little bit better batting average along with the 30 homers he can give you. And then you see these first rounders as they're coming to the majors, and they're coming pretty quickly, right? I mean, Paul Skeens just hit Double-A, but ahead of him, Henry Davis and the like. They need to have him as a capable corner outfielder if he's not going to be a catcher. Andy Rodriguez needs to be a capable everyday catcher. And O'Neal Cruz needs, we don't know what his future holds. Is he going to be a shortstop? Is he going to end up in a corner? Is he the future first baseman? We don't know, but he's certainly got a ton of potential. It all has to start with homegrown talent there, and not even start. It has to get 90% of the way with homegrown talent, and then they'll pull in the Erik Kratz to finish it off.
Ooh!
Wow! I don't know if they can spend like that. See, I don't think they're going to spend like that. Nah,
they can do it.
Nah, they can't afford you, Kratz. Especially now, the way that you speak in your media career. No fucking way.
Kratz will go.
He was always good though.
He'll go for a bucket of balls and some fungos because he's coaching his team. He'll take that.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll just make a lifetime supply of baseballs for my high school team, and we're good to go.
Yeah, Bob Nutting's not giving you that. No freaking way. Dude loves money. All right, so I'll tie this into the national conversation. We'll get into some other teams here. I'll do it this way. So Ronald Acuna Jr. versus Johan Oviedo. Your thoughts on that little back and forth? And I just want to remind everyone, I love Acuna. He's great for the game. And this kind of back and forth yesterday, and a Braves versus Pirates game where the Pirates are out of it. Atlanta's now actually just clinched a playoff spot. It's actually good juice at this time of year. He's done this against the Marlins for years. I've covered him where any inside pitch or he gets hit, the Marlins yo, that's where we're aiming. And we're trying to go inside on you, dude. That's your spot. And he gets pissed. So your thoughts on that? And the post-game comment from Oviedo was, quote, "You try to throw to the weakest zone that the hitter has, especially him. We're not playing chess."
Yeah, that's right. So I think part of what makes Ronald Acuna great is his ability to take almost anything and make it it's like someone's taking offense, or he's taking offense at what someone's doing. If you can play mad, play angry, he's even better. Look what this guy's done. I mean, he's going to put together a 40-80 year or something like that. It's just preposterous. I was looking at for the power rankings today. Spoiler alert, Braves still on top. No one's ever batted .320 with, I think it was 30 homers and 60 steals, and he's going to obliterate that. And so he's not just doing something no one's ever done. He's setting his own record every day, basically, when he steps out there. And so he can do whatever he wants, man. That's the honest truth right now. Is Ronald Acuna is in the middle of his MVP season, 2 years coming off the torn ACL. The man can rock a baby if he wants to rock a baby rounding first base, and he can try to steal the next pitch and end up, with another league leading caught stealing. Why not? Who cares? This team's winning and scoring at will. So whatever he wants to do is I think fair game. This guy, without being completely without charging the mound, like your segment earlier, then he's fine. I have no problem with what he's doing. The team is winning. He's backing it up. Johan Oviedo, sure. Yeah, man. The Pirates pitching philosophy, as Kratz knows, always at that time was pitch to contact, get the ball on the ground, 3 pitches or fewer, and we'll get out of this inning. And when you're facing Acuna in the top of that Braves lineup, sure, bust him inside, do whatever you can, but you're probably not going to end up winning that at bat anyway.
Yeah, true. Right. That's not the guy you want to go up against in that front, but also do your thing. Like, go with your game plan. Don't let him, he's not charging the mound. So also, I mean, yeah, we saw the other day when fans charged him, I would have slugged him in the face. Dude actually had pretty good composure and let the security kind of deal with it. Anyway, let's talk about your power rankings for a sec. So you put those out each week for the Athletic. Give us any big time movers and shakers. What stood out to you this week? Like, I'll throw one your way. The Mariners losing 3 of 4 to the Rays kind of changes things a little bit in my mind. Whenever you see those bigger swings, like 3 wins or losses in a row in these wild card races right now, anything else that stood out?
Yeah, it's me writing this, but also Rustin Dodd and Grant Brisbee, two of our other baseball writers, and so we just take the average. What do we say? So these aren't exactly my rankings. Like I had slightly different individual ranking than what turns out, but yeah, we had the Mariners obviously had that tough series. The Rays, it's like, well, how do you figure this team right now? They're so shorthanded. They're ranked 4th right now for us. So shorthanded. So many things have gone wrong, but they still have enough firepower to do damage here. The AL West situation, the Astros, you believe in them. The Rangers suddenly have like really fallen out of favor with a lot of people. The run differential looks great, but the record right now is fading. The Mariners still, you still believe in that team. You're talking about George Kirby earlier, that rotation, what they have going there. The lineup seems like it's figured it out. The bullpen, even without Paul Sewald, I think is a playoff caliber bullpen. Sorry. And so that was a big one. Let me see if any other big jumps. Diamondbacks jumped a little bit. They're still, you're right in the thick of the wild card race. And it's funny because Grant Brisbee, big, Giants guy, right? He's covered the Giants for years and years. And he had the Giants a lot higher than I did. They ended up dropping, I think, 2 spots from 12 to 14. And they're hanging on, man. They're hanging on to that in that race. But I feel like the whole midfield here, to use like an F1 term, is just kind of a mess. Once you get past like the top 10 teams, it's like, sure, they could all make the playoffs, but are they going to go anywhere? I wouldn't bet on it.
Is that a crispy? Is that a spicy topic when you guys are making these power rankings together? Are you guys arguing it out, or is it pretty much you guys are all in lockstep and you guys don't even like contradict each other too much?
So I could make something up, but the honest truth is it's like a Excel spreadsheet. It's a Google Doc, and we plug in our 1 through 30, and then we make the average and see where it comes out. And so, like, if there's anything absurd, we're like, hey man, I think you may have missed like the last week of games. Check that Diamondbacks rank again. Then we might do that. But it's really just like an average of the 3 of our individual rankings. This used to be we'd have every writer and editor in the baseball vertical at the Athletic put in their individual ones, and it would be the average of all like 30 or so people. And then we decided that just didn't need to happen. Like trying to track down Jason Stark and Ken Rosenthal on a Sunday night, be like, can you get your ranks in, Ken? Just didn't need to happen. So we just do an average of 3 now.
Good move. Okay. I loved your move to put together the article on The Athletic about players and the stats they care about. So this is a player hosted show here, right? Yeah. And there's a lot of dudes that aren't on today that would appreciate this too. Can you give us a little context and anything that, these guys would appreciate and can bounce around?
Yeah, for sure. I came to the right place so they can tell me how wrong I am. So this was an idea I had when I was on paternity leave 2 years ago with our first, and I just jotted down a whole bunch of ideas, and I've been slowly ticking them off. And this one was one inspired by 10 years of service time, which, as the listener probably knows, but maybe doesn't, is when you get full pension. And you could get 10 and 5 rights at the same time, but all depends. But that was one I was like, man, the average fan does not understand this, but I've seen it. I've seen the occasion marked in the clubhouse. I know how big of a deal it is for guys. And the whole service time system, the average fan does not understand. So I said, what if I go around? There's got to be other stuff, and just ask as many guys as I can, former Pirates guys I covered or whatever. So I hit up Tony Watson, Jared Hughes, Chris Stewart, a bunch of these former guys, and Jeff Lockwood, I mentioned him earlier. He's up in North Conway, right near me in New Hampshire, and reach out to many guys I can. Like, what's something that the average fan just doesn't get, but it means something to players? And so I talked to 20 guys down at Fenway, over the phone, whatever, and just tried to tally a list that I thought made a pretty solid list of things that the average fan I didn't think would get. And so that was one of them. 8 years of service time was a big one. I think Todd's across that one with the gold card. I could do a whole story on the gold card. Is people have no clue and think it's the coolest thing ever.
It is. Mm-hmm. I get to show that thing off anytime I want to. It's great. Mm-hmm. You get gold card is basically if you get 8 years of service time, You get a gold card. You're supposed to call up the stadium, and you get 2 free tickets. And supposedly it's the best seats, but sometimes they're like, "Hey, you got to go up top." That's when you call the you call the people there.
You make a different call.
But it is cool to have. Nobody can take that away from you. Yep.
Look at Kratzy. That's the face of a guy who doesn't have a gold card. That's tough.
Oh no.
Don't have it. Don't have it. But I did read, this will probably be the last time I do it. I did read this article this weekend, not even knowing you were coming on. Awesome article. Any article that starts with Chris Stewart in it, I'm going to read the rest of the article. Like, Chris Stewart is an absolute legend in the game. And like kind of you chronicling him trying to make it to that. What was the most fun or the most like amazing, like, wow, I'm surprised that they really care about that thing that the 20 players brought up.
Yeah, I mean, the gold card was one because I called up Chris, and he's living his best life out in California. He's like a youth pastor, working at a church. He's loving his life with his kids, and he, I rolled through some of the easy ones, and he had some. The gold card was something he was like, listen, man, I was actually like low key very passionate about this. I never got there. Tried for 2 years to get there, and decided like it's just not worth it. Once I ended up getting cut short of it. He ended up being a month away. I think, Todd, you're like, what, 3/4 of a season away or something, or maybe 2/3, not even that far, of 10 years.
He's guy's on the ball, man.
Is on it.
I looked it up.
It's like 90-something days, I think. You're right, bro. I'm still a little bitter about it. Over 11-year span, I couldn't get it.
Yeah. So that was one, but then I got into a bunch of interesting conversations, man. It's especially when you walk up to guys you haven't talked to in a long time or haven't talked to ever, and you pitch them, you're just trying to get their attention in like the first 3 seconds, or else they're going to be like done with you. And every single guy I walked up to was like, yeah, oh, there's something that's on my mind, whether that's 10 years, like Nick Pivetta wants to talk about that. He's not there yet. Would love to get there. That's a career goal. You talk to part-time players, and they're like, hey, listen, here's something I look at, because I can't look at number of homers I want to hit, number of hits I want to get. I got to look at maybe rate stats. I want to hit 250 this year. I want to hit 300 this year. I want to provide this much, defensive value. But one that jumped out to me, to answer your question, Erik, was 100 strikeouts for a reliever. Was never something I thought of as a fan. I included 200 innings as a starter in this story. That's probably a more obvious one, because that is a big number and it's much, much less common these days. But 100 strikeouts for a reliever, I never would have thought of. I think of saves. I think of, ERA for relievers. Sure, all that stuff, all-star, sure. But 100 strikeouts was an interesting one. I was talking to Trevor Rosenthal about that one. And we're talking to him actually for a 2-time Tommy John story that we're talking about Shohei Ohtani. And I said, by the way, what's a number that matters to you? And he said 100 strikeouts was actually a big one for him. I think 2013 he got it with the Cardinals. And it's not like one guy every year gets it. It might be a couple. Especially in this day and age with the stuff that's out there. But yeah, that was an interesting one to me, was that guys really want to get across that plateau.
I don't have my gold card. I don't have my 10 years of service like Todd, but I do have my 10 years of service in the minor leagues. Let's go.
Let's go. Hit that, and got all the perks to it. Okay. He can go to any freaking minor league ballpark.
Yeah, walk into any minor league park.
Hell yeah. Steven, it was great to have you, man. Appreciate the time. All right.
Rutgers plays Michigan in 2 weeks. Let's go RU, baby.
Let's go Blue. And go Lions, by the way. Hey.
Oh, God.
There it is.
Ride the highs.
Stephen Nesbitt of The Athletic will post his Twitter on our Twitter. We'll be right back.
My bad.
Lance, your former ball club, which is not a playoff contender. I know you're happy to be on the Dodgers now. Made some switches. So since we spoke to you, Kenny Williams out, Rick Hahn out. I know you spent some time there. And we got some of your thoughts, right, last time about the White Sox. Since then, though, Chris Getz gets hired to run the show there. What kind of relationship did you have with him? And what do you think, good or bad, about the White Sox moves? It's not just Getz. I think there's been a lot of public scrutiny because no matter who it was going to be, if you don't interview dudes outside of the ball club, it's just not a good look, but that's Jerry's team. So your thoughts on what's gone down since in Chicago? Like, you think they're on a better path?
I mean, when you look at some change, even if it's some internal change, could be good because you get some maybe Getz can get some of his thoughts across and things like that. Now that he's the sole decision maker on the baseball side of things. When you have that, Getz played, Getz understands it. A lot of the guys that came up through the minor leagues knows him well. So I think that's going to be the big thing moving forward. So hopefully he can push some things across and really get things moving in a direction for the whole group. I know that he's got some good ideas just from when I had some interactions with him while I was there, and now it's his show. So, just for having teammates there and friends, I hope it goes well for him and all that. And I will tell this, like, Jerry is Jerry's, the one thing is Jerry doesn't throw anyone on the bus and all that. He's a very loyal person, and he trusts Getz, and he's known him well. So it's your team, your organization. If you feel like him being the guy that picks all the decisions and all that, and you're loyal and you trust him, I respect it. And you just got to see how it works out.
And now back to Foul Territory.
All right, let's close up the poll question from today on where you think Trout could end up in the next couple years. Now, I'm complaining, but I wasn't involved. So my write-in was the Phillies. The Yankees are leading the pack in this poll. Number 2 is like Dodgers, Rangers-ish. Thoughts, though? If you had one team to pick that Trout's going to end up on, either this offseason or next offseason, and I think he'll get traded this offseason, where is it?
Now, does he have
He has full no trade rights.
So that's up to him.
He could dictate it, right? Like if they say you're going to Oakland, he's saying, middle finger, I'm not going to Oakland.
Why would you say that?
Because Oakland's not Oakland. Oakland's Vegas, but it's kind of weird, and we don't know where they're playing next year.
Man, if I'm being honest, it would probably be the Mets, just because Steve Cohen's will make something happen. I don't see. I don't know.
Kratz, where's he going?
Orioles. They're going to give up 6 prospects for him and pay down the money. They're going to pay Mike Trout $25 million. And he's going to go to playoffs 6 times in a row.
Nope.
Hey, damn.
They will not pay a player $25 million. I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
Give me a team.
Phillies. We'll go over our picks, and Adam Frazier joining us next.
So I can be free. I take the weight on my shoulders. I feel the sky come down on me, and I can't hold it much longer. Gotta let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Let's run it. Hour number 2. It's FT Alive. We're going to talk to Chelsea Janes later about the Steven Strasburg situation. Mike Rizzo still hanging around with a contract with the Nationals. We'll get to all that. Let's get our player guest going here, and we have a special prop to introduce him with. It's Adam Frazier of the Baltimore Orioles joining us right now on FT Live for the first time. Adam, great to have you on, dude. Your long-lost bro, Todd Frazier, right next to me right now with a little gear, too.
Adam, you remember these, though?
Oh, yeah. I'm surprised you still have them.
Hey, Kratzy, size 6, but nobody's going to bring that up. He wrote, Pops, thanks for always being a great baseball role model. Kratz, you never said that to me. All the best, your long-lost son, Adam Frazier. Let's go. See, these are more memorable than some of the cleats I have downstairs because he wrote something Doesn't make the other one didn't make any sense.
He
but
wrote
that's
something
okay.
nice.
Yes.
And Adam, did you think that he was gonna like auction him off or something? Why are you surprised he still has him?
Sometimes they end up in the bottom of the basement or something.
True. No, these are high on the shelf.
Yeah, I saw he got him easy.
They're not high on the shelf. Frazier, listen. He just broke those out because you were raking this year. When you were down a little bit, my guy didn't have them anywhere. They were just.
I'm looking for the size.
They were letting his kid. He was letting his kids wear them to little league games.
Thanks for.
It's all good. It's all good, baby.
Adam,
and you gave him both the cleats, not just one cleat.
Oh, here we go.
Both cleats
with Trevino. Yeah, all right. Whatever.
Oh,
Todd signs one cleat and gives it to somebody. What are you gonna do with one cleat?
That sounds right.
Hey, the company. I needed some, bro. I was going to a new team. What do you want me to do, Kratzy?
Tragic.
It is.
Adam, how's life with this team? Do you feel old as hell because you're 31 and the average age of your team is 16?
Yeah. I feel a little old at times, but these guys keep me young. Been a lot of fun watching these guys play, a bunch of young studs, and winning's been a lot of fun. So,
what do you attribute the winning culture over there to? Is there, is it the manager? Is it the ball players? Is it you guys just saying, you know what, enough's enough? Let's go. Let's get after it this year because you came on, man, and just freaking, they tore it up here. So what do you attribute that to?
Yeah, a little bit of everything. We try to take it one day at a time, especially with the young guys. We try to keep them locked in each day. So they bring the energy day in and day out. So it makes it easy. So we just kind of simplify things and, one day at a time and stick with that. It's been going. But, yeah, it's been great. All the coaches are here. I think it started second half last year for these guys. It kind of took off and, in the off season, I kind of, once they called me, I was like, pretty excited about it. Just, we were kind of fighting those guys off last year being in Seattle and to be a part of it, the excitement they had going into the second half, taking it into the off season. I think it started there and we just kind of hit the ground running this spring with all of that.
Frazier, you remember back in 2016 when we played together, you remember riding in my car to the airport?
Oh, yeah. We were hoping we'd beat the bus, put a couple calls in, make sure that happened. But, I remember my first day in the big leagues taking BP, same group as you. You're wearing me out. But it was fun. I appreciate that.
That's jabroni. He's a jabroni. Look at him.
No. I wasn't wearing you out. I was probably hitting balls over the batter's eye, but that's just a normal day. Normal day of BP. So Frazier's in my car. We're trying to it's Pittsburgh traffic, whatever, going through. You drive to the airport, so you have your car at the airport when you get back from a road trip. So Frazier hops in my ride, probably a sick BMW, I don't know, Land Rover, whatever, big league ride that I had. And he's sitting in the car, and we're just in traffic. And he's like, Frazier was very, he'll just say whatever. And he spent 6 minutes in the minor leagues, and he comes up, and he's like, dude, he looks over at me, he goes, bro, he goes, you really spent 8 years in the minor leagues before you made it to the big leagues? And I was like, yeah. I was like, it's not really ideal. He goes, ugh. He goes, I would never do that. If they sent me back down to the minor leagues, I don't know that I would go. The minor leagues sucked. So every time Frazier got sent back to the minor leagues, I'm sitting there like, is he a liar or is he does he know he's getting back soon?
Come on now. No, 8 years is what I meant. I could not do that.
No.
I like a hard-nosed player, but I don't think I could do it. 8 years, no shot. So
it ain't it.
I'm impressed.
It's not impressive. It's not something that you should be impressed about. It was not it. It was, ain't nobody want to spend 8 years in the minor leagues.
Hey, quick question. You missed the Pirates at all or no? You're good right now where you're at?
I'm sure you missed the Pirates so badly.
I don't miss losing, but there's
no doubt.
Good people over there I miss for sure. The city was great to me, and but losing is not ideal.
No. How many years do you have in the big leagues right now?
I think this is my 8th season, so maybe 7.5.
All right, so that's why the reason I asked, we were talking about getting that gold card. So you haven't gotten the gold card yet. After this year, maybe?
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, I think I still got a little time to go, but yeah, I need that. That's a goal.
Oh man, there's not. Hey, I have it sitting on my desk, man. I just look at it and I'll put a smile on my face, even though probably won't need it to use it too much. But it's pretty special to have that.
Yeah, you got a guy. He's got a guy.
So you could.
What did you say? I didn't hear.
What'd you say?
I said you got to use it at least once just to say you did. You know.
No doubt, no doubt.
Have you used it?
I haven't. No.
All right, you got to use it.
Well, if I go to New York, though, that's the thing. I already know the traveling secretaries.
You got to go somewhere else.
So
where's
Kratz wants to go to a Philly game. We can go.
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
I'm not going to a Phillies game with you. They'll boo you out of the stadium.
Boo you, boo who?
And Ben Tulibitz isn't looking for you to call him every time you need a ticket. Like
I don't. Big Ben, he's the best.
Adam, who is the best player on the Baltimore Orioles?
Oof. I mean, that's a tough question. Definitely not me. So I would say Felix, man. Felix, that was a big blow. Him going down. But Felix, he was, best pitcher in the game all year.
What was it like when that injury occurred for the boys? Because, he has been the best reliever, no doubt about it. You look at numbers, you look at what he's doing if you watch the games. So what was it like for you guys? And obviously you've been fine since. You just rattled off 7 in a row recently here.
It was tough. It was, he was dealing with some knee soreness at the time here and there. So we're like hoping it's that when we're on the mound. And then, he says it's his arm, and we start sending some prayers up immediately. That was a big blow. And, luckily a few guys have filled in, kind of lessen that blow a little bit, but can't really replace Felix Bautista. So, we got who we got now, and we're just trying to, piece things together and keep going. But, we were praying he would, stay healthy and everything else. That was not easy by any means.
Have you guys talked about how, I think it's still going, have you guys been swept since Adley Rutschman joined the team? Do you know about that stat?
I know there's like 80-something series. So we're going to try to make it through the end of the year without letting that happen. I'll knock on some wood. Take it one day at a time, like I said, but
it's going to happen this week. I'm sorry.
No, it's not.
Oh, save it, Todd.
Stop it.
We got the Cardinals and then 4 against Tampa, so that's a big week for us.
Hell yeah, huge week. Is Adley like Posey? Not that you played with him, but does he have that vibe going right now with the team where it's like as soon as he came up, this team suddenly became a playoff contender?
Yeah, we kind of said that throughout the year. Definitely reminds me and some other guys around of Buster Posey. It's just the same demeanor. Wish I could have played with Buster, but playing against him, they remind me a lot of each other. Just very cerebral, always prepared. Really good hitter, really good defender. Adley's kind of same guy. He's going to get on base a couple, 3 times a game, no matter what. And it seems like Buster did that every day for 12 years or however long he played. Very good comparison.
All right. So at the end of every game, Adley would hug Felix, and it looked like a really, really good hug. Would you ever, because you're kind of height deficient, would you ever hug Felix on TV? Or would it look like he's your child? Or you're his child?
He'd have to jump.
The high five and get out of it. Yeah, I'm not embarrassing myself like that. Come on.
Hey, you're a big hunter in the off season, man. What's the biggest? And don't hate me if I don't know the word used. It's called a buck, right?
Yeah.
So what's the biggest? That's terrible. I don't know.
That's not you. They don't do that in
it's not
Tom's
me,
River.
man. But I'm curious. What's the biggest buck you've ever got?
I don't know. 10 pointer, probably 160-inch deer. Nothing insane, but definitely a good deer. So yeah, I mean that's why you go is to try to kill a bigger one every time. So it's not. That's why I call it hunting instead of killing because it's not.
No doubt. And now tell me about your golf game, man. What's your handicap right now?
Handicap's sitting around the 6. It's trending in the right. Still a lot of work to do, but I'll take where I'm at.
6. I'll take that every day of the week. Did Trout call you up yet to come to his new course down here in Jersey or no?
No. Hopefully, I get that at some point, but I'll probably get better. Unless he invites out to you because feels bad about his fellow Jersey brother. But
listen, when I get the invite, you're going to be like Mike together. I'm like, hey, listen, we're going.
Okay.
Kratzy, you stay home because we don't want to see you.
Todd.
You're coming with.
Todd, you can't invite everybody that comes on the show. You can't invite every single one of your ex-teammates that comes on to go golf with
What are
Trout.
you talking about?
Mike's not even going to call you back. He's going to be like, Todd, bro, we have 18 holes. We can't invite everybody. This isn't a shotgun tournament by Todd.
This is family, though, man. What are you going to do?
You show up.
It is. Just show up. That's
Just
all.
show up. Yeah. Hey,
Same
have you been invited to Whit Merrifield's tournament yet? Have you heard about that?
I did. Yeah, I unfortunately had to turn it down. Going on a Pebble trip the same week, so I'll take the alternative.
Humble brag.
Hopefully do that one.
How big a deal is it for the guys to kind of plan out some of the off-season trips because the time is precious on that front? Is that a big deal, and does that usually kind of occur to kill some time? Like in September, you're on the road in a hotel room after the game. Hey, let me figure out where I'm going to go in the wintertime.
Yeah, I think these guys can attest to that too. It's hard to commit too. Like when something else comes up, this, that, and this, it's precious time. You don't want to, commit 3 months in advance and not be able to go. You're trying to get a lot of stuff on the books in a short period of time. So you gotta get out and do something to refresh the mind and refresh the body after this.
Was last year your first taste of playoffs?
It was, yeah.
How'd it taste?
Tasted pretty good for a little while.
I mean, for them though, they hadn't been there in forever, so you were part of history too.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun making that run, breaking the drought out there. The city was buzzing. Place was electric every night, and we got a few wins in the playoffs to go with it. But it was a little bittersweet there towards the end because we didn't, get as far as we thought we could have. If we could have taken care of the Astros those first couple games in Houston, like we were winning those games. So if we could have done that, we thought we had a real shot at everything. But Houston was really good last year, so they proved that, and we'll see more down the stretch.
Hey, what would you say, you've been playing, as you said, almost 8 years, what would you say the stadium is where you feel most comfortable and you just rake against? Like, is there a stadium you go to where it's like, oh, I can't wait to get in the box here. I don't care who's pitching.
Yeah, Toronto's probably up there with that, and New York, Yankee Stadium pretty good too. I'd say those two are pretty high on the list.
Yankee Stadium.
Well, Yankees. Are you a free agent next year? Is he?
I think so, right?
Kratzy will have to give a call because he's got more pull than me.
hey, if you want some free tickets to Yankee Stadium, then you call Todd. If you want a job to play for the Yankees, you can call me.
Oh,
all right, how about that?
I like it.
Hey, Frazier, do you get to? I completely forgot what I was going to ask you.
That's okay. I got
That's
one.
what happens when you're an old fart.
Kratz, I got my last one. You got 30 seconds to think about it. Okay?
Go ahead.
Recoup it.
Yes, Adam. One player on the Orioles that we need to interview. So we've talked to a few, including we got Adley already, and I will say, like, we can. Adley is a superstar on the field. Like, he's not cracking jokes with us and all of that. We had a good time with him, but like, give me somebody where we're going to be like, this dude's either got me laughing my ass off or he's like straight shooter. Give me somebody like that we should request next time we get an Oriole on.
Man, straight shooter would be Hayes.
We had him.
Trying to get somebody that's going to make you laugh. Mountcastle will make you laugh.
We've heard that.
Yeah, He's pretty good. feel like there's a pitcher or two, but I'm drawing a blank.
Do we have Gibson on?
Yeah, we had Gibson.
We had
on.
Gibby on one time.
Yeah, we probably had about 5-ish.
Yeah, Orioles
but we
gave
haven't
us
had
some love.
Mountcastle.
Yeah.
We could get Mountcastle with Jonesy maybe later this week. We'll work on that. Kratzy, did your old fart brain remember?
My old
your
fart
last
brain
question?
remembered. Who do you think is going to have a better career at the end? More championships, all that stuff? Julio, who you played with last year, or Adley?
Oof, that's a tough one. More championships at the end of dude. Julio's gonna be in Seattle for a long time. No telling where Adley's gonna be. Adley's in the East. I think I gotta go out there. Just because of AL East being so tough. I can't believe you put me on the spot with that one.
Well, plus Julio signed forever. Adley's not. I mean, Adley's going to be free agent in a few years.
Adley's your teammate right now. He's listening.
Yeah,
he's a big foul
Kratz,
territory.
Kratz, he might leave. They're not going to re-sign anyone in Baltimore. That's not my words.
That was it. That was the owner's words. You're right.
Yeah, we saw those words a few days ago. Yeah, man, that's a toss-up. Flip a coin, and whatever it lands on, I think you go with that because I think both guys will get a couple, 3, hopefully each. Special players, man, special players.
Hell yeah. Yeah, franchise dudes. Adam, thanks for joining us, dude. Appreciate you, and I'm glad Todd Father kept your cleats around, man.
Yeah, you could send me some Oriole ones. I could change them up. That'd be great.
There you go. Thanks for having me, guys.
Appreciate it,
Adam. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Adam Frazier of the Baltimore Orioles with us. Yeah, it's seamless. Can we go full to Erik Kratz, please, so we can see that?
What face should I have on? I didn't get my 8-year card, or I completely forgot my question card?
Completely forgot your question card. Amazing. Looks like you got a little tan there, though. Erik Kratz showing off the latest edition of Shady Rays sunglasses, an independent sunglasses company offering world-class product just as good as any expensive pair that anyone has ever worn. Durable frames, extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures, and also this is very appropriate for this particular situation, being that Erik just forgot his question on the show. If you ever have an issue where you lose a pair, for example, even on day one, right? You forget a question, you lose your pair of sunglasses. Shady Rays told us they're going to send a brand new pair to you, no questions asked. So it's all good, okay? Doesn't matter what age you are, where your brain's been, okay? Or what you did last night. As long as, you let Shady Rays know, they'll take care of you, and that's what's important, okay?
He's sleeping right now, so people don't understand that.
They're good for that, too. That's called polarized shades, okay?
I think I already saw Kratz hats, too, on accident, by the way.
Ooh.
Oh, it was a little sneak peek.
Accidental.
Well, get this,
showed you a little skin.
I'm ready for it. Stay tuned, 40 minutes away. But for now, best deal of the season is here for you at shadyrays.com when you use the code FOUL, FOUL, for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people.
That's a great deal right there, bro.
It is. That is fantastic. 2 pairs, 50+, 2% off, or 50% off for 2+ pairs. Real quick, before we get to our picks, the one thing at the end, I didn't start it. Adam said, well, Julio just signed that big contract, and who knows with Adley. And then when I doubled down and I said, he's like, we saw those comments. Don't think that the owner didn't hurt the team by talking about players not getting offered extensions when you're really good and you see the rest of your friends around the league, Kratzy, getting extension offers. Baltimore's just going to ride out their 6 years with players. Actually, they'll probably trade most of them 4 years in, so then they can get a return and keep trying and churning this Rays thing that they're going to try and pull off in Baltimore.
Or what if, not by any means of John Angelos, it wasn't what he was trying to do. What if this brings the team together a little more? What if they're like, screw you, we're doing it now. We're doing it now. We're going to win as many championships as we can win, and we're celebrating as boys together, because we don't have 10 years to do it like the Braves have it. Guys, we're going to be here for another 8 years together. We better start winning. you're right. They've got 4 years essentially. Their 4-year window, and then they think they're going to trade for other guys that are going to do stuff like Gunnar Henderson and Adley Rutschman and Grayson Rodriguez. Like, no, you don't just happen upon groups like this. You lock them up, and then you bring in other pieces to fill in.
Well said. And it's been heard.
That's why he's
in
a
the
good
clubhouse
manager
right now.
That's why he's be a good
Who,
manager.
Brandon Hyde or
No,
Erik Kratz?
Kratz
is a manager.
because he's always on the
He's,
positive.
he's one of the best high school baseball coaches in the country.
Listen, he
All-American, bro.
Listen,
All-American, bro.
Listen to
Dead
me.
serious.
You don't think a college or a major league club is watching him? There's somebody in the
Obviously,
stands
he's
like
gotten
this.
phone calls already.
They're like this. They're like, "Do you see the speech this guy just made
Yeah.
to the kid that's 0 for the century that he didn't even put in? The kid's still cheering. That's a sign of a good
That's
manager.
a 70 grade speech right there.
Little Joey's in the corner, not pouting. He didn't
Yeah.
throw his helmet. That must be because of the manager.
But then they hear his
Oh.
picks and they're like, I'm not sure if he knows how to run a bullpen. Let's do our BetMGM locks for Monday. And first off, we'll look back at Friday. I bombed, and I went big too. I mean, and the free game of the day streaming on the BetMGM app is Oakland against Houston. Live streaming available to all BetMGM customers who are logged in and have funded accounts. Watch how much the Houston Astros can score against the Oakland A's tonight. Free streaming on the
Watch it be
BetMGM
like a
app.
2-1
Watch the
game.
Astros say, yeah, the division is over this week. So on Friday, I lost. Detroit lost. I hit that over, but the White Sox got to them late. There was a no-hitter going for a while with Olsen, too. So I was like, ooh, we looking good. But, all good things have to end. My winning streak dropped at 7. Your Reds lost on Friday. And
Ugly.
Kratz's complicated K-prop extravaganza.
He knew it. Kirby. He knew what was going on.
He got it. Yeah. Kirby even going into the 7th.
Oh, I'm still up too. Good. That's all that matters.
We're all fantastic.
I'm up on
Look, if you
both
just
of you.
listen to us verbatim, that is quick math.
Bro, your numbers,
$4,500 ish.
your numbers are phenomenal, by the way.
Thank you.
61 and 47.
It's just
14
been a
games
year.
over 500.
Yeah, I just went on a heater that just ended. So let's get back on track. Who wants to start?
I'll go.
Okay.
Go ahead, Kratz.
I feel like our numbers there. It's like Scotty's the Braves, you're the Red Sox, Todd, and I'm like the Padres. Like I should be better, but man, just never can figure it out. Can't get above 500. But anyway, I got Glass now tonight going against the Twins. The Twins will strike out a lot like they have all season. I got Glass now giving me 8 and Sonny Gray with a smooth 5.
Wow.
There you go.
The way he
Smooth.
said that, it glass now. I thought he was going to say glass later, but I'm glad you laughed at that. Appreciate it.
Dad jokes will be here all night.
I'm Adam Frazier got me fired up.
Okay.
And I was looking at some numbers. I'm going Baltimore today, and I'm going -1 and a hook, plus 110, and I'm going a little larger than life. I'm going 400 to win 440. Let's have a day, man. Baltimore, make that run.
Yeah, and they have been, and like Adam mentioned too. I mean, this is a big week for them. They
Yes,
know
it
it.
is.
Yeah, they're taking it seriously, as if they weren't anywhere else. Same thing for Toronto. So they're taking on Texas, and I know Texas took a couple after losing 1 to Oakland the other day, but man, they just don't look good. I'm watching them every night, and I'm like, damn, you're barely pulling off dubs against bad teams.
Yeah.
They're losing against good teams. They got destroyed against Houston. I think Toronto's just starting to hit their stride, actually. They're getting guys back. Remember, Matt Chapman's not back yet. Bo Bichette just came back. They're going to ease him into things a little bit, but I already felt like once Bo came back, the offense looked different. I like their pitching. I do. And Chris Bassett's on the mound. He's got 8 innings, back-to-back starts. That's a dude you want on the mound when you need a dub.
No
you know,
doubt.
I know he had the one bad start in the playoffs last year, but overall, I mean, I think I like my chances with Chris Bassett against the Texas Rangers. So there's your money line at -135. Use the bonus code FOUL, FOUL. I mean, you can basically, as you know, use it in a number of spots, but right here, it's your 1,500 first bet offer. You download the app, BetMGM, on sports on iOS or Android, the sportsbook app. Sign up and deposit at least $10 into your account, place your first wager, receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if the bet loses. Todd's like, for me, no, not for you. You already have an account.
Wow.
If the bet does lose, your bonus bets will be available once your wager, that initial wager, is settled. Gambling problem or concern? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I don't know if we can follow Todd's bet, though. Only because you said it, Todd. You go, I've been looking at some numbers. Man, you're the most old school, no numbers guy. And you said, I've been looking at some numbers.
Oh, wait, what'd you say? Sorry, I fell asleep.
You forgot what you were going to say?
Todd likes numbers. Usually you put a dollar sign in front of it.
He likes those numbers.
Okay.
For sure.
That looks good. Let's hit Hot Corner and see Todd's thoughts on the Mets Pete Alonso bobblehead. I got some friends that work with the Metropolitans, and I might have to hit them with a text after this and just say,
"Oh God, I got it blown up."
I want to show them the Reddit post that brought it up, because I'm not paying attention to every team's promos, since we cover all 30 teams somewhat equally. Not the Rockies, because they're just so irrelevant, but everyone else. And the post from L something. Am I insane, or does this literally look nothing like Pete Alonso? So I just want to respond to this person that posted this on Reddit and say, you are not insane. That looks literally nothing like Pete Alonso. I can come up with, I think, 1,000 human beings on this earth, maybe more, that I've come across in life, not just like 1,000 randos, Todd Father. Like, here, I'll start. Ready? Todd Father. Right next to me, because that's a handsome man on that bobble. Not that Pete's not, but you look more like that bobble than Pete Alonso does.
Listen, I've had 5 bobbleheads in my career. 1 out of the 5 looked like me too as well. 1 looked like Anthony Rizzo. That one,
you guys kind of look alike.
This one's a no. It's not this one. Okay.
I mean, this guy looks better than me right there. I mean, look at that one. There's 2.
This looks nothing like you. Like there is not. If someone showed me this and said, "Hey, who's this?" Again, I'd just be running through everyone I've met in life, and eventually it'd say, "No, it's Todd Father. This looks nothing like you."
I like playing that game. I like playing the game because the bobbleheads, like, this might be a little bit more blown out of proportion, but I think that bobblehead, when I first saw it, I was like, "Oh, sick! They did a Kirk Neuenhuis bobblehead for the Mets." Like, he had 1 3-home run game, like Immaculate Grid and bobblehead day. Tremendous.
Yeah, it's tough. Some look spot on, and some are just like, and they give you a box of them too to bring home to give to people. And I'm like, I wouldn't even put this in my. I'm drawing a blank here, like Kratz. What's it called on Christmas? The stocking. Yeah, you wouldn't even put
stocking stuffer. It's not a stocking stuffer. Well, because my thing is, like, this one, for example, like, they made you look old in this one. Like, you look like you're 40, and this is probably supposed to be when you're like 25.
My hips are wide too. No ass either. I'm like this.
Right? Yeah. Flat.
Is your name spelled right?
Is it spelled right?
Yeah, it's spelled right. It's about all it's got going. Although the R is kind of ugly. It's like kind of covered. It just was, it wasn't whoever did this' best work, and sometimes you got to point that out. Like, this was not your day.
My one bobblehead, they spelled my name wrong, so.
Oh, God.
That's it. ERIC, not ERIK. That's probably how my name's spelled in Todd's phone anyway, but.
Oh, wait. Cool. Yeah, let me see.
So give me any other context? Did you notify anyone? Who was the first person that figured that out? They just threw it out there and they were like, sucks to suck. Here it is, Kratz.
Yeah. They gave me that, like Todd said, they give a box to you. I was in the minor leagues and they were like, "Hey, here's your box." I'm like, "Oh, sick. When's bobblehead day?" They're like, "Oh, tonight." So I pulled the first one out. Box says ERIK, KRATZ. I'm like, "Wow, Iron Pigs for life. That's so cool." Open it up. Bobblehead head falls off. Look at the base. It says ERIC, KRATZ. I'm like, oh, womp womp womp. It's like Timmy Trumpet for the Mets season.
Really good.
That is good. Were you embarrassed? Like, did you tell some fam and friends, like, "Hey, I'm gonna hook you all up with bobbleheads," and they're like, "Hey, do you have it?" Oh, you know what? They ended up getting back ordered, and we're gonna do it another time.
If you ask me a question, if I was embarrassed, that means you don't know me. It takes a lot to embarrass me. A lot.
You probably loved it.
I was sending them out to everybody.
Like, "Yo, you're gonna love this. This is so me."
I grew up, and it's so true. It's so true. One season, I finished the season in the minor leagues. I hit 299, and my son goes, "Oh, Dad, if you could just hit 300. I'm like, "Nah, 299 is right on par for me."
That is you.
That is perfect. So spelled wrong. Like I grew up in the era of baseball cards. So if you get an error baseball card, that's way better than like a regular common card.
Yeah.
So this was just a common bobblehead, but now there's an error on it. Oh, let's go.
A lot more value to it, actually. You won't find it anywhere, folks. Kratz kept all of them. He is preserving the value. All right, one more thing, and I just want to call out and congratulate the Braves. They are the first team to clinch a postseason spot, so we'll do that here and there. As we're putting teams to bed, we also got to raise up the ones that you're going to see in the playoffs. Just a dominant season that continues to ride for them, and I feel like this team, Kratz, has actually taken another step. When you look, and there's the nice, pretty graphic, the first of 12 postseason teams. They are officially on their way to October. You got Michael Harris, Matt Olson, Spencer Strider, and Acuna on there, and then every other Brave that signed up for life is jealous that they're not on that picture. But I feel like they've taken another step, Kratz, because there's so many dudes locked up long term, even if one or two of them ends up having injuries or underperforms a little, which really hasn't happened yet, that they've got a machine cranking right now. It's like, all right, cool. What are we going to do this offseason? All right, let's bring in Sean Murphy. Let's sign him up long term. He'll be one of the best catchers in the league. We'll have one of the best backup catchers, so we don't exhaust him down the stretch, so he can be a stud and hit a big home run for us in the playoffs. Even on the pitching side, because they had been mostly position player side. They're like, you know what? Playoffs last year, I was there for all of that. Strider, and I spoke to Anthopoulos. He was like, this is the real deal. We've been mostly doing this with position players. This is the pitcher you do this with, because this is a pitcher that could be worth hundreds of millions of dollars. The fastball alone, and if down the line, he's got to develop more with the repertoire. Seems like he can. He just doesn't have to do it right now. There's not much that has gone wrong for them, frankly, besides some injuries that haven't even mattered. And some of those injuries are like, oh, cool, Max Fried, we missed you for a while. That's fine. When you're back, you're great. Kyle Wright, you haven't pitched the whole season, but you might come back later and be a stud for us, maybe even as like a multi-inning dude out of the bullpen. But the problem is we got to figure out a roster spot, like there's so much going on. There's so much right. Even some of the names that people don't know that step up right away, like Vines, and make their debut, and they're really good in Colorado. Do you have a problem with anything the Braves are doing right now? Like, can we nitpick anything that we go, that could be an issue in the playoffs?
Nope. Other than the fact that they lost last year, and you sit there and you go, well, the World Series runs through Houston in the American League. The Braves had 1 year off and they lost last year. My question is, will that like hangover thought creep into their mind? I don't think so, but I think it's something that is to be watched. But they're perfect. They are really just a team that is built for not just winning this year. It's not like, here's our window. We only have a small window and we can't all these guys are athletic. They're not like some teams, they're like fighting, like, all right, we got 2 or 3 guys that need some DH looks here. Everybody's fighting to be on the field. Like nobody's fighting for the DH spot. And then they go and, like you said, go and get Sean Murphy. And then you have Travis d'Arnaud. I think the only issue that I see is they clinched a playoff spot last night. I'm assuming they didn't drink any champagne, which I think is tragic. Every time you make it to the playoffs, you should drink champagne, but it was September 10th. They clinched September 10th.
But they're going to do that for the division, right?
I get it. I get it. It's a different scenario, but just ask the 2018 Cubs what happened when they clinched a playoff spot and they did not celebrate. I understand it's completely different.
This is different because they're a billion games ahead. But
there are so many games ahead, but you clinch. You work so hard. Todd can attest to this. You work so hard in the offseason, in your career, during the season. You grind through injuries. You grind through everything to make it to the playoffs. And to me, you celebrate every single time. Act like you're going to be there forever. Celebrate like it's the only one you ever get.
I like that. Yeah. Sure. And also, no one's ever going to, hate on you for drinking twice. There's some of that Cristal that they should be hooking you up with. All right, let's stay in the division because While Kratz says the Atlanta Braves are perfect, we'll get an adjective right now from Chelsea Janes, who joins us on FT Live for the first time. You can find her at Chelsea_Janes on Twitter, national baseball reporter for the Washington Post. Chelsea, great to have you on. Too bad nothing's happening for this, lower level team right now in the division. What adjective would you use to describe the past week for the Washington Nationals?
Adventurous, I would say, I think, is a polite one. It's been an absolutely wild week of conjuring chaos out of what was otherwise looking pretty functional.
Yeah, and it was a nice rebuild, too. We gave them props throughout the year. They've played well. They've been coached well. The rebuild has gone maybe quicker than some of the other ones, like we talked about Baltimore plenty. So let's start with Steven Strasburg, since that's nice and fresh, and we've gotten some context behind the scenes, too. What's your take on how they've handled and really botched this? And correct me if I'm wrong on that front, because, the information that I got was they spoke with Boris during that Dylan Cruz press conference and said, hey, let's work this out. Because also for them, he's taking up a roster spot in the offseason. So there is a benefit to getting him off of the roster and having him retire. Coming back to him like 48 hours to go when he's bringing family and friends in town and saying, just kidding, we want money back. That sounds pretty shitty.
Yeah, it's still unclear to me and my colleagues Jesse Doherty and Barris Faluga, who also reported on this, exactly what the hangup is. If it's really money, it seems like that is sort of silly because we all sort of know the union is not going to let them not pay out that deal. Scott Boras is not going to let them pay out that deal. So I think it might be as simple as they want him to do more appearances, or it's hard to tell exactly why there is a holdup. But the fact that there is one is just completely unnecessary. I mean, it's very clear to everyone in that organization that he can't pitch again, that he's going to have trouble doing many normal things again with that arm. So, they're just dragging out a process that doesn't need to be dragged out. And like you said, they need the spot. So it's in their best interest to kind of get this done and have it be quick and clean. And for some reason, the ownership group just could not get out of their way and say, yeah, we'll let you go on your terms, whatever, we'll pay you the contract and be done. There had to be a hang up, and it's still sort of unclear to me and many others exactly what that was.
Yeah, and it's kind of unclear to me as well, looking back and reading the things. It's 100% that he's got this injury that he can't really come back on. So isn't it written in your contract? We talk about the Prince Fielder thing as well. Like, I understand, Prince got his money down the road, but isn't there something that says, listen, if you can't play because you're injured, like that's in your contract. Now, why is it such a big holdup? It's so confusing.
I know. And again, I don't think it's the money because there's kind of no world in which they're not going to pay that whole contract. And I don't think there's anyone in the organization who thinks they're getting out of it. I think there's something else behind the scenes there, whether, we've heard people speculate that Major League Baseball was worried about this. I've heard from Major League Baseball, as you would expect, saying, no, we have nothing to do with this. But that doesn't mean there aren't conversations had with the owners. But, I think on some level, it's just, the Nationals want something for what they're paying him. I don't know what that looks like, but, it's not going to be anything on the field. So whatever they're waiting for, it's not going to get any easier for them to get it now that they've kind of embarrassed him publicly and got Scott Boras mad. It's all just kind of petty. And I think from what we've heard, just completely unnecessary on the part of the learners.
I know that they decided it's a two-way street to pay him after they had won that World Series. He did bring them something. He brought them a lot of tickets and fanfare over the years and a World Series title where he was World Series MVP. Yes, super disappointing since then, but it's mostly related to physical ailments. So the layer that got me going was we talked about this on Friday on our show, and then after the show, the Nats come out with that statement like, blah, 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 let's keep this private, whatever. Quote, "It is our hope that ongoing conversations remain private," and you're smiling, "out of respect for the individuals involved. Until then, we look forward to seeing Steven when we report to spring training." Now the petty meter is off the charts. We broke the petty meter because we're going to make the dude that is physically cleared by doctors that he cannot pitch again. And if he even tried to do something anymore, I've gotten this too from people, like he could really damage usage of his arm long-term. So that's done. So did you just say, hey, show up to spring training and sit there because you're under contract? Ha ha.
It's wild. I mean, that sentence, up until that sentence, I was like, okay, I'm with you. Oh my gosh. I can't tell you how many text messages came in right after that from people in and around the organization, just being like, "Oh no, where did that come from?" I think it's fairly safe to say that is something that a PR person would have and probably did warn against, and then was sort of overruled by the bosses there. But yeah, that's pure pettiness. That's pure, hey, Scott Boras, you can say whatever you want. You can call as many reporters as you want, but this guy's under contract and we're going to act like it. And he's going to have to keep up with that. So yeah, that was just unnecessary. I think they will probably regret adding that statement, but that was one of the most, it was a very Nazi thing to do, but also somehow shocking at the same time. So absolutely wild.
Yeah, and I read Barry Svrluga's article, your colleague, saying "Nat's gonna nat." It's a very popular phrase out there because, again, like we started this conversation saying, this team's won a World Series. They've had star power. Yes, they've let some of their superstars go. They're already rebuilding quite well. So credit to Mike Rizzo and the group for putting that together because many teams have rebuilt very poorly over the years. What's the context of why the Nats nat? Like I read a little bit into what Barry said where there's like bickering with the families and the owners. So they just seem to do these little petty things to, negotiate contracts with someone like Mike Rizzo, or I know that they've tried to kind of underpay managers / coaches in the past. Like they seem to have these things that most of the rest of baseball does that they just can't get over doing.
Yes. And I think a lot of that has to do with the Lerner family. You don't make a ton of money and make billions of dollars by not being kind of, I guess, careful with money, but they sort of take it to another level. Ted Lerner, who was in charge for a long time, he just didn't want to lose a deal, whether that was negotiating with Dusty Baker or another team or a Scott Boras, he just didn't want to give more than he had to give. And, his son, Mark, is now in charge. And the way that it's worked is, Mark and a couple of other, family members of that generation make every decision via vote, from what I understand. So that means there are a lot of opinions. There's not a lot of consensus always. And even when there is, somebody's worried about something that the others aren't, and it holds everything up, which I think is partially why you haven't seen, the team get sold yet. But yeah, there's just always been this feeling that they're not going to pay anyone any more than they absolutely have to. Probably smart in real estate, but has rubbed a lot of people the wrong way in baseball over the years. And I think it doesn't help that we're talking about Steven Strasburg, who's the one guy they did pay out for, and that didn't work out. So there's just kind of a lot of tension around all of it. And that's the Nats natting at their best.
Was the retiring the jersey thing? Did I read that right? Were they going to retire his jersey? And if that's true, was that a reach? To me, is that a reach, like retiring his jersey before you retire Zimmerman's, if you're actually retiring Strasburg's?
So they weren't going to do it like this weekend. That wasn't part of the plan yet. It was sort of tentatively on the plan for next year at some point where they'd have like a big on-field ceremony. This was just going to be like a quick press conference, like, I can't do this anymore. Goodbye. I think they still will. I don't think this is going to ruin that. And I can see why it seems like a stretch sort of from the outside, but I will say to people in that organization and fans in particular, like his arrival and his debut was the moment where, the expansion or whatever, new Washington Nationals sort of started looking like a credible team for the first time. Like that guy coming in, it was like, oh, we can have some really good talent here. So, he was a turning point and frankly, he got them that World Series. So whatever anyone thinks about his career, that's the biggest moment in Nats history. And he was right at the center of it. And I think he's somebody that will kind of be remembered bigger here than he ever will anywhere else.
In the last 5 years, the Nationals had some big stars. We think about Bryce Harper, Strasburg, Soto, Turner. Have you ever seen any team have something like this and not have any of these guys ever on the team anymore?
It's crazy. I switched from covering the Nationals to covering sort of national baseball in general. And I just went and found all the former Nationals, and they were at the heart of everything happening in baseball everywhere else. I mean, Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, Max Scherzer, it's crazy. But no, and I think that's part of, it's individually, they all kind of left under circumstances that were semi-understandable. I mean, they let Anthony Rendon go, and I think everyone would say that was a good idea. I don't know if they were going to be able to pay Trey Turner and Juan Soto, so they felt like they had to choose. You can argue about whether that's true, but when you sort of step back and look in the aggregate, there's two things that are interesting. Number one, I mean, those are some of the best players in baseball. and they somehow let them all go. They didn't retain any of them. And then also, like, all those guys remember their Nats time surprisingly fondly. I think, you might remember when Max Scherzer got traded to LA, Juan Soto and Turner was in LA too. Like, Juan Soto went to the wild card game to cheer them on. It's like they remember that time fondly, but it doesn't look from the outside like an organization that people want to stick around in. So it's just kind of really interesting. But yeah, it's really, I think, depressing for people in DC, particularly to like look up the road in Philly and see former Nat Kyle Schwarber, former Nat Trey Turner, former Nat Bryce Harper, hitting coach Kevin Long. I mean, it's just like, 100% contending to zero in a couple of years, just a total exodus.
You've covered the Nationals, as we know, and you've covered the 2020 presidential election too as well. So my question to you is, how crazy was it in 2020, and what do you like better doing?
It was absolute chaos in 2020. And I'm very happy to be covering baseball again. Politics was, the stakes were high, but this is a world that makes a lot more sense. People actually answer questions in this world sometimes, which doesn't happen in politics. So yeah, I like baseball a lot better, but that was a really cool experience that has made me appreciate baseball even more, I would say.
Well, okay, being on the scene down there, I remember when the Nats were in their peak, right, and they're making playoff appearances and then winning in 19. When I was covering the team, the talk about the area was there's all these fans that are close enough to Baltimore and DC, and they're all Nats fans now. Do you feel like that's shifting now during this time period? I hate rebuilds, like when you have to scrap it all down and restart and you don't spend for a while and all of that. So do you feel like that could shift? Because the Orioles tanked for a while, and the one concerning thing, even we just had Adam Frazier on, and he said like they saw the John Angelos quotes, they're not going to re-sign any of their dudes. That's how it's being perceived there. Like, enjoy the ride for a few years. So like, what is the state of baseball for young fans in that area?
It's a great question. I think the Nats were really lucky that they not only got good, but they got good at a time when the Orioles were, mostly down. The Washington football team was pretty irrelevant. That's sort of the gem of DC sports fandom, but hasn't been because they've been so irrelevant. And now, the Nats kind of drop off the face of the earth right when the football team is coming back and right as the Orioles look like they're ready to really make some noise. So it's going to be interesting. We used to cover the Orioles full time. We don't anymore, but I think we'll probably, have to do some more than we normally have just because there's a lot of interest. Like, there's a lot of former Orioles fans in Washington, D.C., who had the Nats to distract them, but probably have some loyalty left. So I'll be really interested to see sort of how the playoffs go, how much D.C. sort of gets behind the Orioles or it doesn't. There's plenty now of Nats fans, people that grew up Nats fans, people that wouldn't even think about the Orioles, but there's a little bit lingering there, and there's always sort of tension between those two teams too, which makes it interesting. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of turnout DC gives to the Orioles as they sort of make a run here.
And that is true. When you try and like rank Chelsea, what's going on there from an ownership perspective, Daniel Snyder's got to take the cake, like for being the shitty owner out there, right? And then like John Angelos probably takes number 2 on the power rankings ahead of the Lerners. They make mistakes, but to me, there's still a separation there with those 3. I mean, that's a tough group right there in that area. When you come to think of it, the Washington football team alone and what they've gone through over the past like 10 years makes almost anything else in sports seem not that bad.
Totally. I saw some people tweeting yesterday when the football team looked very functional with their new owner. I guess we don't get to have 2 normal sports teams at the same time because the Nationals are doing whatever they're doing right now and not looking super functional. But yeah, it's interesting. I think you're right that the Lerners, maybe they get a bad rep for some of the things we talked about earlier. But at the same time, I mean, there were years in there where they had a top 5 payroll. They won the World Series. They brought in Max Scherzer. It's not like they did nothing. But Angelos is interesting. I'm actually at Camden Yards right now, and those comments he made about maybe not paying guys down the line. It's just like sort of you get in your own way. You don't even need to say that right now, really. So you could pretend and fake it. But my favorite part of that dynamic, and is that the teams sort of hate each other too. Those two ownership groups do not like each other because of the dispute over their TV rights. And when Ted Lerner, the patriarch of the Nationals family, died, the Orioles issued a statement that was basically like, Ted Lerner was a businessman and condolences to his family. And it was sort of the most generic, least heartfelt thing I had seen about that. And it was just funny. It's just like absolutely classic for these guys. They sort of coexist, but there's zero love lost, and they are always in competition. And I guarantee you that the Orioles will know exactly how many more fans they drew to their playoff games than the Nats or whatever. I'm sure it's annoying for them, but it's kind of fun to watch.
Oof, they're so mature. Gotta love it. Okay, so lastly, let's finish with this, just to circle back to Rizzo for a moment, because I respect what he's done. Do you think there's any chance that Mike Rizzo says, you know what, enough? Like, I've made enough money. I don't need to take this shit. I'm saying, and the reason I bring this up is, what if, and I don't know how the offseason is going to look, something else opens up and an owner calls him and says, hey, dude, I like what you've been doing and I need help. Like, we can see from the Mets situation, finally, it sounds like they'll get their guy in David Stearns. It's not like there's tons of executives out there. Might be tons of talented executives, but there aren't many that other ownership groups fall in love with, because you hear the same names over and over again. So I'm just wondering, Mike Rizzo, I know some people brought up his name with the White Sox situation, but it sounded like maybe that was more of a leverage play because they were never going to go outside the org. But other teams could, it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely got more of an old school reputation, which is, I think, why, the White Sox sort of made sense, just because we kind of know they were kind of an old school organization, for better or worse. So I don't know what the market would be for him, but I think if you look at what they've done, you would think that there would certainly be interest. That being said, he's kind of put down roots in DC. He's got his house kind of within walking distance of the park, and had the World Series trophy in the window for people to see, in the years after that. So I think he really likes DC. I think he is sort of aware that he's one of the few people that, frankly, has been able to manage up with the Lerners. They're difficult to work with, and he's managed to kind of create winning despite some of their idiosyncrasies. I think he knows what he's got here, and they've made a lot of changes in the last week, and probably more to come on the scouting side. They're trimming down, but I think potentially with an eye on building up in more modern ways, which is what I think they need to do. So it certainly seems like he's making some tough decisions now for a future that he is in charge of, but they put him through this almost every time he's got a deal. There's always like, when will he sign? Why are they dragging this out? So I think he's used to it, and frankly, in some ways, I think this is the team he wants to be a part of, flaws and all, and he's handled it pretty well to this point.
Yeah, no, I mean, he hasn't gone out and said anything, so I give him credit on that front, because I like him on an interview. Usually he's pretty, outspoken and will give you stuff, which I appreciate, as some GMs don't. We'll see what happens. Chelsea, great to have you on here for the first time. We appreciate it. Hope you had fun and enjoy the night at Camden.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And you can follow Chelsea at Chelsea_Janes on Twitter. And she's the national baseball reporter for the Post. You can see her articles. You'll see her Twitter on our feed if you want to get more info from her. But great combo there. I mean, damn, there's so much drama always in that area for sports in general, more so than most spots. That's why I always, like, for some sports fans, sometimes I do say this to them, like, you got it good. Let me bring up a few other scenarios where they're really going through it. Okay, let's have some fun. So we're going to finish off today with a 5-minute gritty, and then we'll take an amp caller or two. So let's lock in. Okay.
Oh, let's go. Oh, I thought that was it.
That would have been the easiest gritty
I got
ever.
my pen. I'm ready to write some stuff.
Okay.
I'm going to hide my computer because I don't want people to think I'm cheating or anything.
No one thinks you're cheating.
Here we go.
Okay. So Todd Father, by the way, Kratzy, has pen and paper ready to go.
Well, I know one already.
Is this the real gritty today? Don't start yet. Don't start the clock yet. Give us 1 sec.
Wow.
Wow.
I gotta say, yesterday's gritty.
So
it was my best gritty ever. I got a 3. Rarity score 3.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
awesome. I didn't know how to go back to the picture. I just took a picture of it saying 3 is my rarity score.
Damn it.
But it was all teams I played with except the Diamondbacks.
Listen. 3. Okay. Anyway. All
right, let's set this up. We got the White Sox, the Nats, and KC down the left side, and across the right, you got Pittsburgh, 200+ K seasons on the mound, 300 batting average, seasons at the plate. The FT fam can play along to help us out. You have questions?
No,
Or you feel like
the
you're
first
ready?
one is easy.
All right, I got to start the clock then. You ready? And then I'll get your pick.
Well, you already know who it is.
Start the clock now. And is it Todd Frazier?
Yes, it is.
Which one do you want to use? That one?
Yeah, well, that's
White
the
Sox
only,
Pirates?
That's the only one.
Yeah.
I'll go
got?
Pirates KC for the big
4%? Nice.
for the big fella.
Oh yeah, Kratzy boy.
Are we just gonna like ride out all
Hold
of
on
our
here.
FT fam here? Oh, look at Kratzy.
I got one here for Washington and Pittsburgh. Kratzy, Jay Hay, Josh
I like
Harrison.
that.
No, wait.
Why not our?
Yeah. What do you got?
Well, why not good old buddy
Brockstar?
Brockstar, the Holt
he's
magnet.
I didn't know he played for the
Brock Holt, baby, and that's a nice pull.
That's
right
why I
there.
thought. That's why I thought the day was unbelievable. It's an absolute. It's an absolute FT day.
This is an FT heater day right now. I mean, technically,
And AJ, I know hit 300 for the White Sox.
Okay,
because he was pissed about that because the one time he did.
Fucking go.
That's such an FT day right now.
Oh my gosh!
Did Lorenzo Cain bat over 300 for KC?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, that's got to be one. No. Oh, let's go.
Let's go. Oh, and we're making record time here too. It's just watch the show and fill out your gritty.
Todd,
baby.
you ever strike out 200 times? We can use you again.
Stop it. All right, so let's get some pitching going here. AJ Early, who's usually pretty good on here, said 200K for the Sox.
Chris Sale. No.
Alex Fernandez, he said.
Who did?
Wow.
Alex Fernandez.
I mean,
can I get an Alex
I don't
Fernandez?
even know who that is.
Let's go.
Oh.
All right.
That is tremendous.
That was fantastic, and that was not an easy one.
Does the Expos count for the Nationals too?
I believe
that's
so.
a good question.
I believe it does.
I think it does.
Yeah, because it's their franchise. We're getting some suggestions there for Expos 200K. Jackson said Steve Rogers. Can I interest anyone in Steve Rogers?
Really? The old union rep.
Yeah.
Mr. Steve.
I don't see these stat ones. Like I wouldn't have known the AJ one without him saying it. And he said he hit like right on the nose 300. So I don't know about, but I know Lorenzo did. The year he was almost
Steve?
MVP, he hit over 300.
Steve would be that middle.
Kratz, you find it funny that all three of us in the first row are in different uniforms?
that's not on the teams that it's.
So did they try Steve Rogers?
I don't know. Are you going to try Steve Rogers for us?
In the middle, right?
Yeah. Come on, Steve. Let's go.
Oh, look at that. Now that's a cap. If I can have a cap, that's a cap right there.
Yeah, that's
That
nice.
was fantastic.
200K for KC.
Mike Laverty said for 300 batting average in DC. How about a Daniel Murphy? Mr.
I want
Comeback?
somebody.
He wants it, no? Too common?
No, I mean it's a good one. It's recent. I want somebody that's like did it real.
Jose Vidro?
Did it real.
What does did it real mean? I mean,
like
using Murphy.
They're never. No. He's always hitting 300. So I feel like somebody's gonna.
We got a minute 30 here. Jose Vidro, want to try it or no?
Sure.
Oh yeah, let's go.
Do you
that
have
was
to
right in here, playing a lot of triple play 99 or whatever the hell it was. 200K seasons for Kansas City. Mike Laverty said Kevin Apier. Pick up those
That's a
Ks?
good one. The first one that came to my mind was James Shields, but I know he fell short when he was with KC, and he finally got it when he was
big game, James.
With like the Padres or the White Sox or somebody. He got it.
Napier.
I think Napier might have to be
Let's try
the dude.
Napier.
Or Apier.
Apier.
Yeah, Kevin Apier.
All right.
Solid 26.
That's the first one I've ever finished.
See, this is the one. This is the one I checked it now. For Washington, I thought Niger Morgan hit over 300, like something ridiculous, and I just looked it up, and he hit 350 the 1 year. I mean, only 212 at bats, but I don't know if they would have accepted it because he didn't qualify.
Oh
but
yeah, that's
I knew
not qualified.
So do you have to qualify?
I don't know.
Qualificaciones.
We should probably find that out, but I do not know. I think you do now because I think that people were putting down like pitchers and that would get one at bat and some random crap. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
They
Good
hit
job,
1,000.
everyone. That was great. We didn't get any wrong. I'm very happy.
That's my first time not getting any wrong on the show.
Really?
Every time I've played, I've gotten it wrong.
Still the best one we've done, I think, was you, me, and Adam Jones, or was that?
No, I wasn't there.
That was Locaine, Adam Jones, and me.
Locaine, yeah, I remember watching that one. You guys killed it.
Thank you to the FT fam just now, and by FT fam I mean Foul Territory hosts for filling up half of our bracket in 5 seconds, or half of our grid in 5 seconds.
Well, we got a couple on our own though.
Yeah, let's slap, baby.
Can't wait to see his hat.
Yeah, let's do Kratz hats first, so I don't forget.
I mean, went on the day.
Smart.
We got to wear these in 2020. No fans in the stands, but they just put these in our locker. It was cool because it was like they were up in our locker as you walk in. And the Yankees don't do like this like commemorative jersey or anything like that, but to have something like this to get an opportunity to celebrate the fire department or the police department and, just see them all in our lockers was pretty cool. It makes you connect to the city. It really does.
More of that, please. More of that.
No doubt.
All right, let's get to AMP. We are on AMP. If you want to follow along, it's at Foul Territory. It's free to join. So let's bring in a little caller to finish off FT. So whoever you are, we just sent you an invite and you accept it and then you unmute.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Unmute that freaking phone for us. So invite has been sent.
Say your name with your chest.
Oh, they hung up. So we got another one coming in.
Dude, listen.
It's called stage fright. It happens sometimes. Okay.
Crazy.
We got another one coming in. And also the thing that we do, because we're trying to differentiate from like the local radio that you and me grew up listening to and Kratz, is instead of name and where you're from, it's name and who's your squad, who's your ball club, who do you root for?
I like name. I like where you're from, especially. That makes me happy.
You do? Why? Because you're waiting for a Tom's River?
Of course I am. I'm waiting for somebody in my neck of the woods.
You could tell next time, tell your neighbor to call and we'll bring him in.
What's your name? What's your sign?
He's on a bender right now, my neighbor. It's funny. They're not cutting the grass across the street. It's been almost 8 months.
What?
And we're calling the township on them, man. And people are kids can't even walk on the sidewalk. Wait till you see the damn thing.
And
Todd,
also,
you got some issues with some neighbors not doing some things. I've taken that drive to your casa.
Yeah.
You got some issues. You got some renovations. You got some people that are living places that
Also,
look
this
like
is
they're
the
doing
mayor.
renovations.
It is the mayor. If there's a problem,
I'll call the
then
mayor
we'll get it
right
fixed.
now. We'll get it fixed. I'm waiting to see if we can do it on our own.
We got someone in. All right, ready? Name, please. Who's your favorite team? And for Todd, Father, where are you from? And what's your question?
Yo, it's Marco from Jersey. Kratzy, who's your funniest teammate you ever played with?
Marco from Jersey. Funniest teammate that I ever played with.
Also, props to Marco for getting it right where it's like in and out.
Yeah, no
Tell me
doubt.
your question and let's do it, Marco Jers. What do you got, Kratzy?
Man, funniest teammate. I mean, we had Brent Suter on the other day. Suter B is way up there in the hilarious. I mean, Stephen Vogt just he's always on. Like, he's just always that guy. Like, he's never trying to be too funny, but when he is, and my sneakiest, funniest teammate, Manny Pena. One of these days, if we can have Manny P on, so he sings Hotel California, and he's like, and he tells jokes like Hotel California. He's like, you know, I sing Hotel California. Do you know that? And then he tells these jokes that are hilarious. The one about the Lamborghini is my favorite.
The Lamborghini. Great question. Great question.
Nice. Someone, I think we're out of time, but Thomas said, is there someone else there? Thomas said, hey, I'm calling from Japan right now. 4 a.m. studying Japanese vocabulary.
Oh,
Love it.
Then
God
tell
bless him.
Thomas, if you can write it in the chat, tell Thomas, Onada data.
There you go, Thomas. Okay. And call us back tomorrow because we gone. Join the AMP community. It's free. You can create your own show and listen to us wherever you are at Foul Territory. It is that simple. We'll take calls every day at the end of the show. So about 2:50-ish, get yourself ready. Okay. That's all we got. So on Tuesday, I will be in Casa.
Oh, nice.
With Kratz. So Kratz is the star on Tuesday. And Wednesday, just to give everyone a little preview. Oh, and by the way, Tuesday we got Brandon Woodruff making a big comeback to the squad. Let's go. Coming back on the show. It's been a minute, Woody. And Wednesday, I'm not here. Special guest host.
Oh, nice.
Also, Kike Hernandez joining us on Tuesday. Yeah, I can't wait to listen, though, to all the chaos. So, a little preview of what you got this week. We're back in Atlantic City on Friday. This crew in AC at Borgata, if you want to come say hello. Brad Lidge is going to be there for an event, too. So, it's going to be crazy for those Philly fans that miss their Brad Lidge, their World Series winning closer. We'll hang out with Mr. Lidge. Great dude on Friday. We'll see you on Tuesday for Woody and Kike. Bye.
See you.
Bye.